Chapter 580. Wang Shifan's original plan was to point the gun at Zhou Jiejia, and then threaten Yang Ming to commit suicide. Let this little bitch see her loved one die for her. What a sense of accomplishment and pleasure it would be. However, when Yang Ming suddenly said those secrets, Wang Shifan's brain became uncontrollable. What he thought was to get rid of Yang Ming quickly. So he made a move to shoot Yang Ming directly with the gun. In his opinion, killing Yang Ming was also a deterrent to Zhou Jiejia. But what he didn't expect was that Zhou Jiejia actually blocked the muzzle with her own body. It made Wang Shifan's teeth itch, but he couldn't help but admire Zhou Jiejia's strength. She actually did so much for her lover. Unfortunately, his son didn't have this blessing. If he could get this girl's sincerity to Jitao, then he could leave with peace of mind. He could only sigh that fate made fools of people. The originally good girl actually fell in love with Yang Ming. Then she was undoubtedly a little bitch. Forget it. Death is death. Death is nothing to be regretted. Wang Shifan was a little stunned and returned to normal. He was going to raise the gun and shoot Yang Ming again. If Yang Ming could be shot by him this time, then he really didn't live up to the name of the king of assassins. Fang Tian had taught him more than once how to dodge bullets and then kill the shooter with the fastest speed. Moreover, now that Zhou Jiejia was no longer a scruple, Yang Ming wasn't as timid as before. Looking at Zhou Jiejia, Yang Ming's eyes flashed a trace of unbearable pity and sympathy. Although he had always been on guard against Zhou Jiejia, avoided her and ignored her. Even when he kissed her and looked at her, he never thought of being responsible for her. However, at this moment Yang Ming had a feeling of being unable to breathe. He suddenly felt that his heart had become empty. Zhou Jiejia died for me. In any case, this was an undeniable fact. Indeed, she had done something wrong to herself in the past. However, compared to what happened today, those things were nothing. Although she had hurt me, it didn't have to be paid with her life. Yang Ming's murderous intent was written on his face. He had never wanted a person to die so much like now. Wang Shifan's bullet in the eyes of Yang Ming was simply a joke. He hadn't been professionally trained. Shooting at Yang Ming's erratic figure, it would be a miracle if he could hit him. Even a professionally trained sniper couldn't say that he could hit Yang Ming 100% of the time. Peng, Wang Shifan flew out with a punch. Although Yang Ming really wanted him to die, in the end he still withdrew most of the strength in his hand. In any case, Wang Shifan was now a wanted criminal in the police station. If he killed him, wouldn't it be letting him off too easily? It was better to let him accept a sentence. However, he could avoid the death penalty for the time being, but he couldn't escape the punishment. Yang Ming fiercely hit several acupuncture points on his body, making him beg for death. He wouldn't die for a while, but the pain was unbearable. Wang Jitao didn't expect Yang Ming to be so fierce in the face of the muzzle and bullets. He actually beat his father with his bare hands. He was stunned on the spot. However, Huang Youcai's reaction was faster. After realizing that something was wrong, he suddenly pressed the emergency bell on the table. A team of members of the Wang family's special forces immediately rushed in. Catch him! Huang Youcai pointed to Yang Ming and shouted. However, he didn't expect these people to catch Yang Ming. Although he didn't think that Yang Ming could defeat these people, at least it wasn't a problem for him to escape. Now what Huang Youcai was most worried about was that after Yang Ming beat down Wang Shifan, he would come over to Wang Jitao and himself. In fact, Yang Ming did plan to do so. However, Huang Youcai had disrupted his plan. Huang Youcai was sinister and cunning. How could he not see that Wang Jitao and himself weren't Yang Ming's opponents? If Yang Ming had the mentality to fight to the death with them, then the two of them would really be done for. You haven't played with a corpse before. You go and play with a few people once. This woman just died. She's still warm and she's still a virgin. Huang Youcai had to use more sinister tricks in order to escape. He was betting that Yang Ming wouldn't leave Zhou Jiejia alone. Although he also saw that the relationship between Yang Ming and Zhou Jiejia wasn't very good, and Zhou Jiejia was just having a one-sided love, she was already dead. According to Yang Ming's temperament, he wouldn't be so unjust. Sure enough, Yang Ming frowned after listening. He was originally worried about Zhou Jiejia's safety. He wanted to solve these people in front of him as soon as possible so that he could see how Zhou Jiejia was doing. He didn't want Zhou Jiejia to die because of him. In that case, he wouldn't be able to rest in peace for the rest of his life. He couldn't stand the condemnation of his conscience. These people didn't dare to violate Huang Youcai's orders. Although they didn't have any special hobbies, They also responded to Huang Youcai's call and surrounded Zhou Jiejia. Motherfucker. Yang Ming secretly scolded Huang Youcai for being shameless. He picked up the fragments of the teacup that Wang Shifan had just thrown on the ground and threw it over. Shwa, it hit Huang Youcai's right eye. Huang Youcai screamed, but he endured the pain and dragged Wang Jitao to the door. His hand quickly shook the wheels of the wheelchair. The performance of the wheelchair was fully utilized by him. Jitao, go quickly. Huang Youcai shouted as he walked. Oh. Wang Jitao also knew that it wasn't good to stay here for a long time. He looked at his father sadly and looked at Zhou Jiejia again. He sighed helplessly and left the room with Huang Youcai. After all, Zhou Jiejia was the woman he loved deeply. Whether this woman deceived him or hurt him, Wang Jitao always had an indescribable knot in his heart. Zhou Jiejia and Qin Mengyan were different. Although Wang Jitao also admired Qin Mengyan before, Qin Mengyan had never been with him, so Wang Jitao wasn't so persistent. But now Zhou Jiejia had promised to be his girlfriend and she had spent some sweet time with him. Of course, sweet was just Wang Jitao's wishful thinking. Zhou Jiejia was just perfunctory. Wang Jitao, who had never tasted love, had an indescribable feeling for his first love, Zhou Jiejia. How could he forget it? However, time waits for no man. Escaping was more important. Maybe Yang Ming would vent his anger on him and cripple him. Get lost. Yang Ming kicked away the black-shirt men around Zhou Jiejia one by one. Regardless of Zhou Jiejia's life or death, he wouldn't let these people humiliate Zhou Jiejia. For these small fries, Yang Ming wasn't so merciful. Although they were only instructed by Huang Youcai, the Wang family's dogs would always be dogs. If he let them go today, they wouldn't appreciate it. These unthinking men of sacrifice would still come to trouble him tomorrow. Yang Ming basically made the black-shirt men in front of him lose their combat ability with a punch or a kick. In the blink of an eye, the black-shirt men in the room could only lie on the ground and groan. Even the groans were a few lucky ones. The others fainted directly. It was unknown whether they were dead or alive. Rushing to the front of Zhou Jiejia, Yang Ming nervously tested Zhou Jiejia's pulse. Fortunately, Zhou Jiejia didn't die on the spot. The bullet was also shot from the side of her forehead from bottom to top. If the rescue was timely, there shouldn't be any danger to her life. Yang Ming secretly breathed a sigh of relief. He quickly sealed several of Zhou Jiejia's acupuncture points to stop the bleeding. Jiejia. How are you? You have to hold on. Don't fall asleep. I will take you to the hospital. Yang Ming held Zhou Jiejia in his arms with one arm and called out repeatedly. Yang Ming, run. Don't worry about me. Zhou Jiejia's mind had begun to blur. She didn't see the scene of Yang Ming defeating Wang Shifan and killing the black-shirt men in the room. She thought that Yang Ming was still in danger. Jiejia, the bad guys have been defeated by me. I will take you to the hospital. Yang Ming held Zhou Jiejia with his right hand, but his left hand was strangling Wang Shifan's neck. He dragged him out of the monitoring room like a dead dog. Okay. Zhou Jiejia's mouth moved with difficulty, revealing a smile. Yang Ming didn't dare to delay. Zhou Jiejia's situation was very bad. He had to go to the hospital quickly. Otherwise, it would really be too late. However, Yang Ming wanted to be fast, but some people didn't want him to be fast. There was a noisy sound of footsteps in the corridor. When Huang Youcai fled with Wang Jitao, he had already given the warning. At this time, a large number of black-shirt men rushed to Yang Ming in the corridor. Yang Ming frowned. He lifted Wang Shifan directly with his left arm and shouted at the black-shirt men, Wang Shifan is now in my hands. If you dare to stop me, I will crush his tibia. Chapter 581. These people were trained by Wang Shifan. Wang Shifan was their highest leader, so when they saw that Wang Shifan was restrained by Yang Ming, these people didn't dare to act rashly. No one would doubt that Yang Ming had the ability to crush Wang Shifan's tibia. He could lift people up with one hand. How could that strength be underestimated? What's more, Yang Ming was still holding a person in his arms. It wasn't that Yang Ming couldn't beat them, but he didn't want to be entangled with them. Now for Yang Ming, time was everything. Only by saving time as much as possible could he send Zhou Jiejia to the hospital for treatment. When he passed by the room where he and Xia Shui were imprisoned, Yang Ming quickly opened the door and shouted inside, Xia Shui, come out quickly. Xia Shui looked at Zhou Jiejia in Yang Ming's arms and was shocked. She quickly asked, Yang Ming, what happened to her? Can't you see it? She was shot. Hurry up and help me pull Wang Shifan. Let's get out of here as soon as possible. Yang Ming didn't have time to explain too much to Xia Shui. He just handed Wang Shifan to her. Although Xia Shui was a girl, her strength wasn't small. It was more than enough for her to hold Wang Shifan. With Wang Shifan's cover, the two people went out of the base very smoothly. Wang Jitao's Mercedes-Benz was still parked at the entrance of the base, but the previous RV had disappeared. Apparently Wang Jitao and Huang Yukai escaped from here. Wang Shifan's acupoints were sealed by Yang Ming. He couldn't wake up for a while. Even if he woke up, he didn't have any fighting ability. His pistol had been seized by Yang Ming privately and he didn't tell Xia Shui. You drive. Yang Ming threw the car key found on Wang Shifan to Xia Shui. Then he sat in the back seat of the car with Zhou Jiejia. Xia Shui nodded and started the car. At this time she also knew that the situation was urgent, so she didn't say much. Let's go to the hospital first. Hurry up. Yang Ming instructed Xia Shui. I know. Xia Shui said as she sped up the car. Jiejia, hold on a little longer. We're almost at the hospital. Along the way Yang Ming said this sentence the most. He was afraid that Zhou Jiejia would close her eyes and never open them again. Sometimes whether or not a seriously injured person could make it to the hospital depended on their own willpower and belief. If they could hold on, they would make it through. If they couldn't, they would die on the road. Although Yang Ming had never personally encountered such a situation, he had seen it too many times on TV. Therefore he could only keep talking to Zhou Jiejia and ask her to hold on. And Zhou Jiejia leaned in Yang Ming's arms. Although her face was pale, there was an indescribable happiness. Yang Ming cared about her. Regardless of whether she lived or died, that was enough. Xia Shui, hurry up. Yang Ming looked at Zhou Jiejia in his arms, who was getting dimmer and dimmer. He said anxiously to Xia Shui, can't you use the strength you used to chase me on the street? I'm already fast enough. Do you want me to drive the car like a rocket? Xia Shui was also anxious. After all, it was a matter of life and death. Ming, I'm so cold, so sleepy. Or sleep. Can you kiss me? In his arms, Zhou Jiejia's breathing suddenly became rapid. Yang Ming was shocked. Could it be that Zhou Jiejia couldn't hold on anymore? Yang Ming, I really love you. Can you fulfill my last wish? Zhou Jiejia saw that Yang Ming didn't move, so she added a sentence with effort. Yang Ming really had an impulse to kiss her. He also wanted to satisfy Zhou Jiejia, but Yang Ming suddenly remembered an important thing. Yang Ming once read a short story. The story said that an old man wanted to see his unborn grandson before he died. Therefore the old man always had a last breath and refused to give up. Until his daughter-in-law gave birth and his grandson was born, the old man left the world with relief. Many people would have such a wish before they died. If this wish wasn't fulfilled, this person would not be willing to leave. There were too many examples to mention. Jiejia, we will reach the hospital soon. How about this? I promise you that as long as your injury is cured, I will kiss you every day. I will love you. Yang Ming told a lie against his heart. However, Yang Ming also knew that what Zhou Jiejia wanted now was a belief to persevere. If he satisfied her request now, then she wouldn't be able to hold on until the hospital. Only by giving her the belief would there be a miracle. Sure enough, Zhou Jiejia's originally dim expression suddenly became lively again. There was a slight smile at the corner of her mouth. She tried hard to open her mouth and said, okay, you promised me. You can't go back on your words. Okay, I won't go back on my words. Whoever goes back on their words will be Wang Jitao. Yang Ming smiled. Why is it Wang Jitao? Zhou Jiejia's thoughts were still in the right situation. This made Yang Ming feel relieved. It seemed that the bullet didn't hurt the cranial nerves. Because he is an idiot. Yang Ming explained. Heh. Zhou Jiejia also laughed. After a while Zhou Jiejia said, Yang Ming, I'm really sleepy, not sleepy. Be good. Don't sleep. I don't like disobedient girls. Yang Ming pretended to be angry. It's good. I won't sleep. Zhou Jiejia's voice was getting smaller and smaller, but fortunately she still didn't show signs of confusion. Xia Shui, turn on the car's radio. Yang Ming instructed Xia Shui. It was too quiet in the car. Such an environment was unfavorable for Zhou Jiejia. It was too easy to fall asleep. Oh. Xia Shui quickly turned on the stereo in the car. Although she felt that Yang Ming and Zhou Jiejia were entangled in the back, she also knew that Yang Ming was saving someone, so surprisingly she didn't mock Yang Ming. He just focused on driving. Even then, you and I will stay together for 100 years. If one of us dies at the age of 97, we will wait for 3 years on the bridge of helplessness, side by side in harmony between heaven and earth. Meng Pezhuang suffered for 3 years. Simple tea and plain food are sweeter. A bridge, a soul, walking and stopping for 3 years. Too happy, too dependent, yearning for each other, not envious of the immortals. 3 life stone, 3 generations of fate, reincarnation hall. There was a song from Xu Ye's new album on the radio. It was sad and emotional, narrating a sad and beautiful love story. However, it was somewhat in line with the current atmosphere. Zhou Jiejia listened to the song on the radio and actually hummed softly. Yang Ming didn't stop it. This was better. No matter what Zhou Jiejia did, as long as she persisted to the hospital, everything would be fine. The car finally drove into the city, but it was impossible to drive as fast as on the highway. However, Xia Shui still maintained a very high speed. The forbidden lanes and traffic lights were completely decorations. However, Xia Shui's crazy behavior quickly attracted the attention of the traffic police on the road. Not far ahead, there were 2 traffic police officers who were ready to intercept Xia Shui. Creak. Xia Shui stepped on the brakes angrily and pressed down on the window glass. Before the 2 traffic police officers could speak, she spoke first. I'm Xia Shui from the criminal police team. I'm on a mission. There weren't many beautiful women in the police system. Xia Shui was famous. When the police officers saw Xia Shui's expression, they knew that this must be the legendary female Tyrannosaurus. Looking at the injured people behind the car, they didn't dare to delay. They quickly removed the post and let them go. They also used the walkie-talkie to contact the command center and reported the situation here. Obviously, the license plate of the Mercedes-Benz had been informed by the traffic police through the command center. This time no one stopped Xia Shui. Instead, when they saw her passing by, they tried to help her open the way. Finally, the car stopped at the entrance of the hospital's emergency building. Zhou Jiejia's condition was good. Yang Ming breathed a sigh of relief and rushed in with Zhou Jiejia and Xia Shui. Wang Shifan had been handcuffed by Xia Shui. Obviously, he couldn't run away. In fact, with Yang Ming's hands, these handcuffs were basically superfluous. Doctor, my friend was shot. We need to rescue her immediately. Yang Ming shouted as he ran. A doctor immediately greeted them, but when he heard that it was a gunshot wound, his expression suddenly became serious. We need to call the police for a gunshot wound before we can carry out rescue. I'm a police officer. Xia Shui quickly showed her police ID. After the doctor looked at it, he nodded and didn't say anything. He called someone to carry Zhou Jiejia into the emergency room. After that, a person who looked like a nurse came to find Yang Ming to pay the hospital deposit. Yang Ming didn't care about this at all. He directly swiped his card and transferred 20,000 yuan to the hospital's account. Only then did the nurse feel relieved. However, it was understandable for her to do this. In today's hospital, who would treat you if you didn't pay? Chapter 582. Xia Shui's mobile phone had a signal after leaving the base. She quickly contacted Qin Fei. Qin Fei was probably on his way to the hospital now. How did you catch Wang Shifan? While Zhou Jiejia entered the operating room, Xia Shui began to ask Yang Ming about the incident. The process is complicated. However, Wang Jitao and Huang Yukai escaped. Yang Ming shook his head with regret. However, there was obviously no other choice. Even if Wang Jitao's case was settled, Wang Jitao would not be implicated. It was no longer the era where the whole family was executed. Therefore, Yang Ming did not deliberately keep Wang Jitao. If he wanted to retaliate against him, he had many means. He was not in a hurry. Obviously, the base was not a good place to do it. If he did something to Wang Jitao, the police investigation would definitely involve him. Yang Ming was not so impulsive. Oh. Xia Shui saw Yang Ming frowning and looking in the direction of the emergency room. She knew that he was not willing to talk about this now. His mind was not on this at all, so she did not ask more. She just said, in a while, if Captain Qin asks how we went to the base, how should we answer? Xia Shui was obviously afraid that Qin Fei would criticize her for acting without authorization during her vacation. When Yang Ming heard it, how could he not understand Xia Shui's worries, so he said, if Uncle Qin asks in a while, just say that you found something suspicious. Then both of us made a prompt decision to follow. Don't worry. Not only did you not make a mistake this time, but you also made a contribution. Didn't you catch Wang Shifan? Yang Ming winked at Xiaoshui. This Xiaoshui likes to make a big contribution. Yang Ming decided to give this credit directly to her. How should he say it? After all, Yang Ming had no use for this credit. Moreover, when they were in the room, Yang Ming was also somewhat guilty to Xiaoshui. After all, he hit her there. It was compensation. Oh. Xiaoshui listened to Yang Ming's words and immediately understood the meaning of Yang Ming, but she said with some embarrassment, "Is this okay? What's wrong with that?" "It's the truth." Yang Ming shook his head helplessly. "Great. Thank you, Yang Ming." Xiaoshui raised her small fist, her eyes filled with a strange look. "I finally solved a case, and it's a big case. Let's see who will look down on me now." Yang Ming was a bit amused, but what Xiaoshui said was also true. If Wang Shifan was really captured by Xiaoshui, then the credit was indeed not small. It was just that the matter of Zhou Jiejie being shot was not easy to explain, but this headache was left to Xiaoshui to explain. It was reasonable for the police to inform Zhou Jiejie's mother after receiving the news that Zhou Jiejie had been shot. When Mother Zhou heard the news, she almost fainted and rushed to the hospital. "Where is my daughter? How is my daughter? Jiejie?" Zhou Jiejie's mother actually rushed to the hospital faster than Chen Fei. Yang Ming looked at Mother Zhou, who was in a daze and couldn't help but have some sympathy. Originally, such a noble lady was like a haggard middle-aged woman at the moment. Her speech was somewhat incoherent. "Auntie Jiejie is in the emergency room. The result hasn't come out yet." Yang Ming sighed and couldn't help but comfort her. "It's you. You tell me. Is it because of you that Zhou Jiejie was shot? You tell me." When Mother Zhou saw Yang Ming, she immediately rushed over in anger. Yang Ming didn't know how to answer. Indeed, Zhou Jiejie was shot by Wang Shifan because of him, but this couldn't be blamed on Yang Ming. Yang Ming didn't expect that this girl would be so infatuated to the point of sacrificing herself. "It really is you." When Mother Zhou saw that Yang Ming didn't speak, she was more certain of the thoughts in her heart. She raised her hand and slapped Yang Ming's face. Enough. Yang Ming's original sympathy had disappeared at this moment. He couldn't help but say coldly, "If you ask how it happened, then I will tell you. It was Wang Shifan who shot." "It's ridiculous that you actually want to be in-laws with him." "Wang Shifan, it's impossible." "Where's he? I have to ask him. Why did he harm my Jiejie?" Mother Zhou exclaimed immediately after hearing it. "Wang Shifan has been arrested because of suspicion of smuggling and intentional injury. You can't see him." Xiaoshui suddenly interjected coldly. The deep feelings between Zhou Jiejie and Yang Ming moved Xiaoshui. So, facing this mother who didn't care about her daughter's feelings, Xiaoshui was even more annoyed. Mother Zhou was stunned and said, "What? He smuggled?" Because the evidence of his smuggling was discovered by Zhou Jiejie, Wang Shifan wanted to kill her. Xiaoshui added fuel to the fire. "Anyway, what I said now doesn't represent any party. I'm currently suspended." "What?" Mother Zhou was suddenly stunned. She just received a call from the police. She was only told that Zhou Jiejie was shot, but she didn't know the specific details. So when she first came and saw Yang Ming, she thought it was caused by Yang Ming. She didn't expect it to be Wang Shifan. "Your daughter is harmed by you." Xiaoshui added another sentence. Mother Zhou's face was even paler. "Hey Xiaoshui, don't say it." Yang Ming couldn't watch it anymore. In any case, the woman in front of him was annoying. She was Zhou Jiejie's mother after all. With Zhou Jiejie's affection for him, Yang Ming didn't want to have too much conflict with Mother Zhou. "Auntie, it's useless to be anxious now. Let's go over there and sit for a while." Yang Ming pointed to the rest area not far away. Mother Zhou nodded numbly. He didn't know what she was thinking, but her mood was obviously very unstable. Wang Shifan was brought back to the police station by Chen Fei, who came later. In the face of sufficient evidence, the arrest warrant was quickly approved. Wang Shifan knew his fate, so he didn't intend to hide anything. The process of the police's evidence collection and interrogation was unusually smooth. Wang Shifan confessed to what he had done, but he took all the blame on himself. After that, he didn't answer any questions. Huang Yukai, who was turned into a simple company secretary by Wang Shifan, did not participate in his smuggling. His only accomplice was Su Daji, But because he was afraid that Su Daji would betray him, he was killed by Wang Shifan. The killing process and the location of the body were all described in detail. Although Wang Shifan transferred most of the funds to anonymous accounts overseas, he still left an account in Huachi Bank in Hong Kong with a small amount of smuggled black gold. Even so, there were hundreds of millions. Because Wang Jitao knew that if he didn't spit out some of the money, the police would definitely not let it go. Even if he kept silent, they would still investigate Wang Jitao. It was better to simply give up some blood and pour out a sum of money himself. This part of the money was quickly taken out as evidence in court, and then it would be turned over to the state treasury. Wang Shifan's only requirement was that Wang's Century Xiongfeng Group was a legal enterprise with complete procedures and did not participate in smuggling. Smuggling was only his and Huang Youcai's private behavior. At present, he had resigned from all positions in Wang's Century Xiongfeng Group. In order to keep this group, after a meeting to study and analyze, Wang's Century Xiongfeng Group did not participate in the smuggling business. Moreover, the survival of this group was related to the food and clothing of tens of thousands of families. Because Wang Shifan's guilty attitude was good, he didn't suffer much. After the evidence collection was over, he was waiting to be handed over to the judicial authorities for prosecution. For Xia Shui, she was the hero in this operation. Qin Fei had already sent a reward report to the bureau and was ready to reward her. Who is the family member of the injured Zhou Jiajia? A doctor in a white coat came over and asked. I am her mother. Mother Zhou quickly stood up. However, Yang Ming also stood up with Mother Zhou and looked at the doctor anxiously. Zhou Jiajia's situation is temporarily stabilized, but now we need to do a craniotomy to remove the bullet. You need to sign a risk and responsibility agreement. The doctor explained. However, there is a very important situation that I have to tell you in advance. Doctor, is my daughter okay? Mother Zhou asked incoherently. Madam, don't be excited. Listen to me finish. The doctor frowned. Every day he faced too many family members of such patients. He understood their feelings very well. Madam, Zhou Jiajia's bullet is located below the position where the nerves in the brain are the densest. There is no problem to remove the bullet, but it is hard to say whether it will damage the nerves in the brain. Because whether it is CT or other equipment, it can't capture the exact shape and location of the nerves. Chapter 583. What do you mean? Just tell me whether my daughter can be cured or not. Hurry up and say it. Aren't you telling me so much just to get more money? Say it. No matter how much money it is, as long as my daughter is cured. Mother Zhou had obviously lost her mind, and her emotions had become extremely agitated. Ma'am, that's not what we mean. This is not a matter of money, but the operation has risks. The doctor explained. What risks? Mother Zhou said anxiously. How much money is there no risk? Yang Ming couldn't bear it when he heard it. He couldn't help but interrupt her. Auntie, can you wake up? Do you think you are done with money? Can you listen to the doctor? After being yelled at by Yang Ming, Mother Zhou also sobered up a lot. She couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed about her behavior. I'm sorry, doctor. I was impulsive. Then you can say it. The doctor nodded. He had seen a lot of family members every day, so he didn't care. Seeing that Mother Zhou's emotions were stable, he continued. Because the bullet position of the injured person is special, we can't guarantee that the bullet will be removed without hurting the cranial nerves. Therefore, this operation is very risky. We need the family to sign before we can implement it. Mother Zhou was shocked. What will happen if the nerves are damaged? This is hard to say. The nerves of the brain are very magical. Each one has its own different role. If a nerve is damaged, it is possible to have quadriplegia or blindness, facial paralysis, and unclear speech. It is more likely to affect intelligence. The doctor explained. Is there no other way? Mother Zhou asked quickly. Even the best brain doctor in the country, Professor Zhong Hanlin, can't completely guarantee that there is no risk. The doctor said with some embarrassment. Then if I invite him here, can I reduce the risk? Mother Zhou said quickly. Yes, but as soon as possible. If you can invite Teacher Zhong, that is naturally good. But I'm afraid that the condition of the injured person is unstable and can't hold on for long. The doctor said. I know. No matter how much it costs, I will invite Dr. Zhong Hanlin. Mother Zhou said repeatedly. However, I still have to say in advance that Teacher Zhong is very busy. and he is now in Beijing. He can't be invited with a lot of money. Many rich businessmen want to find teacher Zhong but can't. The doctor reminded tactfully. But what should we do? Mother Zhou had a lot of money, but after listening to the doctor's words, she didn't know what to do. Then are you familiar with Dr. Zhong? Can you help me get in touch with them? I know teacher Zhong, but teacher Zhong doesn't know me. The doctor said self-deprecatingly, forgive me for being powerless. However, I heard that Professor Lu Weishan and Professor Zhong Hanlin of Songjiang Industry University were private schoolmates, and their relationship was very good. When teacher Zhong came to Songjiang last time, Professor Lu accompanied him. If you have a wide network in Songjiang, you can try to contact Professor Lu Weishan and see if he can help you. What? Yang Ming was stunned. He didn't expect that things would be so coincidental. Lu Weishan, isn't he my godfather? Then I don't know him. Mother Zhou's business was in Donghai. In Songjiang, except for Wang Shifan, who was a relatively important figure, she didn't know anyone else. Doctor, Auntie, please wait a moment. I have something to do. Yang Ming heard that his godfather knew Zhong Hanlin and didn't dare to delay. He quickly prepared to call to verify. If you have something to do, just do it. Don't delay me. Originally, Mother Zhou was upset enough when she heard the news of her daughter. Now she was worried about inviting Dr. Zhong Hanlin. Yang Ming was still adding trouble, so she said impatiently, the doctor has to treat Jiajia. What's the use of waiting for you? I will call my godfather and see if there is any way. At this time, Yang Ming was too lazy to bother with Mother Zhou. Who is your godfather? Mother Zhou asked. Yang Ming waved his hand and made a gesture to talk later because the phone had been connected. Godfather, I am Yang Ming. Yang Ming said to the other side of the phone. Yang Ming, what's the matter with you looking for godfather? It's almost Chinese New Year. Why don't you come to godfather's place? Lu Weishan's hearty laughter came through the phone. Godfather, I am looking for you this time because I have a very important thing to ask you. Yang Ming quickly talked about business because Zhou Jiajia's matter couldn't be delayed. What's the matter? Let me hear it. Lu Weishan became serious when he heard that there was a serious matter. Godfather, do you know Dr. Zhong Hanlin? Asked Yang Ming. Hanlin, I know him. What's wrong? Why are you suddenly asking this? Asked Lu Weishan. It's like this. I have a friend who is injured in the head. I want to invite him to do an operation. I heard that Dr. Zhong has a good relationship with you, so I called to ask. Yang Ming explained. Oh, I got it. Lu Weishan hesitated and said, it's not a problem for me to find Hanlin, but now it's Chinese New Year. If it's not something important, I don't want to bother him. After all, he is also a person of my age. What's your relationship with this friend of yours? Relationship? In very good kind. Yang Ming said, I can cure her at all costs. Well, I will contact Zhong Hanlin for you. Lu Weishan didn't say much because he already understood that this person must be very important to Yang Ming. Thank you, godfather. Yang Ming smiled and hung up the phone. My godfather said to help contact Dr. Zhong. It shouldn't be a big problem. Hanging up the phone, Yang Ming said to the doctor and Mother Zhou, who were suspicious. Who is your godfather? Mother Zhou looked at Yang Ming strangely and asked. My godfather is Lu Weishan. Yang Ming said, it's a coincidence. Otherwise there is really no way for a while. It's really a coincidence. The doctor also sighed. Madam, your daughter is really lucky. If you can invite teacher Zhong to do the operation in person, the chance will be at least 50% higher. Yang Ming, this time I have to trouble your godfather. Mother Zhou was also very grateful at the moment. It was the first time she spoke so politely to Yang Ming. It didn't take long for Lu Weishan to call back. It turned out that Zhong Hanlin wasn't in Beijing, but he was preparing for the Chinese New Year in his hometown in Heilongjiang. Heilongjiang and Songjiang were neighboring provinces. The distance was relatively close. It was only an hour by plane. When Zhong Hanlin heard that it was Lu Weishan's matter, he naturally agreed and immediately booked a ticket in half an hour. He thought that he could reach Songjiang in a while. After hearing the news, Yang Ming and Mother Zhou were very happy. The doctor also breathed a sigh of relief. To be honest, if teacher Zhong didn't come, we really didn't have the confidence to do this operation well. Then let's go to the airport to pick up Dr. Zhong now? Mother Zhou was worried about the safety of her daughter. Naturally, she was anxious to pick up the doctor here. Let's take our car. Xia Shui said, The police car is at the door. Can be faster and save some time. Yang Ming thought about it. He originally wanted to ask the hospital to send an ambulance to pick up Dr. Zhong because this special vehicle was not subject to the restrictions of traffic rules. Of course, the police car was the same, so when Yang Ming heard Xia Shui take the initiative to ask, he nodded and agreed. After the research of the task force, it was basically determined that Wang Shifan's confession was true, but the amount of black gold was not so clear. Wang Shifan also belonged to the kind of fox-like character. What was recorded in the account book was the price and batch of imports. The price of shipment was not reflected above. Moreover, there were a variety of smuggled things from cars to electronic products. It was scattered. It was not so easy to estimate the shipment price of each batch. However, after preliminary calculation, the number was almost the same. After all, Wang Shifan did not record the smuggling of some drugs and other prohibited items. And that sum of money was secretly transferred out by Wang Shifan. However, whether Huang Yukai was involved in the smuggling had become the focus of the task force's investigation. Xia Shui did not see Huang Yukai participate in the whole incident. Although Yang Ming saw it, he was not willing to say anything. After all, Huang Yukai, a mad dog, was very difficult to deal with. Since Yang Ming had already said that Huang Youcai's leg was crippled by him, then if Huang Yukai was really caught by the police, it was difficult to guarantee that he would not say this matter. Therefore, Yang Ming simply pretended not to know and waited for a period of time to calm down before he personally dealt with Huang Yukai. Chapter 584. Zhong Hanlin received Lu Weishan's invitation and rushed to Songjiang without stopping. He and Lu Weishan were classmates and friends when they were young. They studied in the same private school. Later, the two joined the army together, but Zhong Hanlin became a military doctor. After being demobilized, they went to teach at Zhejiang University together. Later, Zhong Hanlin was transferred to Beijing, and Lu Weishan was transferred to Songjiang. Although the two were in different places, their friendship had been maintained until now. They usually called each other to greet each other. After all, at their age, they didn't have many childhood friends left, and those who could keep in touch were even fewer. Therefore, they valued this friendship very much. Whenever there was a chance, they would definitely catch up with each other and reminisce about the past. Zhong Hanlin didn't have the air of an expert when his friend had something to ask. If it were another person, then Zhong Hanlin would never come before the new year. But Lu Weishan was different. Zhong Hanlin came directly with his wife and grandson this time. He was ready to celebrate the new year at Lu Weishan's house in Songjiang. Zhong Hanlin's son and daughter-in-law were abroad. The holidays were different from the domestic New Year's, so after coming back once on New Year's Day, they couldn't come back for the new year. However, Zhong Hanlin and his wife were used to it. Fortunately, there was a grandson accompanying them, so their life wasn't lonely. Zhong Hanlin knew the situation of Lu Weishan's family. His only son suddenly disappeared. The blow to him was quite big, but he also heard that he had recently accepted a good young man as his godson. He had long wanted to come and meet him. This time he heard that his old friend's godson was begging him. Naturally, he didn't hesitate and ran directly to see this young man. Zhong Hanlin didn't look like a person in his 60s at all. Mrs. Zhong was the same. Maybe people who studied medicine were better at nursing their health. The two were as energetic as middle-aged people. At the airport exit, Yang Ming held the Zhong Hanlin sign, but it was difficult to connect the two people in front of him with his godfather's age. He couldn't help but shake his head. It was really sad to age. It seemed that his godfather had been sad for so many years because of his son's disappearance. It was also recently that Lu Weishan had some happiness after Yang Ming joined the family. "Are you Uncle Zhong?" Although Zhong Hanlin's age was old enough to be Yang Ming's grandfather, because Lu Weishan was his godfather, he couldn't mess up the seniority. Therefore, even if the age didn't match, he still had to call him uncle. In fact, Yang Ming didn't recognize him randomly. Although he saw Zhong Hanlin coming here, he also glanced at the ticket boarding pass in his jacket pocket in advance. He saw Zhong Hanlin's pinion on it, so he dared to recognize him. However, compared to Yang Ming, Zhong Hanlin had already determined the identity of Yang Ming. There was no other reason. It was because Yang Ming was holding a sign with his name written on it. In this way, it must be the Yang Ming mentioned by Lu Weishan on the phone. "Is it Yang Ming?" Zhong Hanlin smiled and said, "Is your godfather's body okay?" "Godfather's health has been very good recently." Yang Ming quickly took the luggage in Zhong Hanlin's hand, and Xia Shui also took the things in the hands of Zhong Hanlin's wife. It seemed to be some local specialties. This young man is not bad. He looked talented. Is this your girlfriend? Zhong Hanlin saw that Xia Shui also came to the airport with him, so he naturally regarded her as Yang Ming's girlfriend. No. Yang Ming and Xia Shui defended almost in unison, but they had a tacit understanding. After Zhong Hanlin heard it, he smiled. If it's not, then it's not. I just don't understand you young people. Just like that brat of mine, before he got married, he suddenly brought a girl home for New Year's Day. I asked him if she was his girlfriend, but they denied it and said they were just normal friends. I thought it was fine if they were just normal friends, so I prepared 2 rooms. But in the end, the 2 of them stayed together for the night. I thought that maybe I had been abroad for a long time. My mind was open, so I didn't think much about it. But I didn't expect that when I came back the next year, both of their grandsons were brought back to me. They registered their marriage in a foreign country and I didn't even know about it. It really pissed me off. But fortunately I brought back a grandson, so I didn't say anything. So your godfather and I are old. We can't manage the young people's affairs. Zhong Hanlin subconsciously didn't treat Yang Ming as an outsider. The godson of an old friend, wasn't he a family member? Therefore she started chatting with Yang Ming about their daily lives. However, these words made Yang Ming and Xia Shui blush. Yang Ming coughed twice. Xia Shui also lowered her head embarrassedly. Why does it seem like I'm also living with Yang Ming, but I refuse to admit it? Oh. I didn't notice that your girlfriend is actually a policewoman? Then you have to be careful. Don't lose to your wife. Zhong Hanlin looked at the police car in the parking lot and laughed. Yang Ming didn't expect that this Zhong Hanlin not only looked young, but he also liked to joke like a young man. Yang Ming scratched his head awkwardly. He didn't want to continue this topic. That? Uncle Zhong, should we first discuss my friend's injury? Look at me. I can't stop talking about family matters. I don't have a younger generation around me. I don't talk all day long. It's easy to see a younger generation like you, so I can't help but nag a few more words. Sitting in the car, Zhong Hanlin asked, I heard from Wei Shan that your friend was shot in the head? Yes. But the doctor here said that Zhou Jiajia, the part where the injured person was shot, has dense nerves. He didn't dare to operate on it easily. He was afraid of touching the nerves. Yang Ming explained. That's a bit tricky. Zhong Hanlin nodded after listening. Let's do this. Send me directly to the hospital in a while, and then let my wife and grandson go to your godfather's place to rest. That's too much trouble for you, Uncle Zhong. Yang Ming also knew that Zhong Hanlin was so anxious to come here. He must be very tired. It was a bit difficult for this old man to go to the hospital without rest. However, time was tight. Yang Ming could only apologize in his heart. What trouble? I found out what's wrong with you, child. We are a family. With my relationship with old Lu, do I need to be polite? Zhong Hanlin pretended to be angry. If I have something to look for old Lu can fly to my place in the middle of the night. Yang Ming listened to Zhong Hanlin and didn't say anything more. It was because Zhong Hanlin had already regarded himself as the son of an old friend, so they were family. If he said anything more, it would be a bit fake. Immediately he didn't say anything. He just briefly talked to Zhong Hanlin about Zhou Jiejia's injury. At this point, Zhong Hanlin also really understood that Xia Shui might be a policewoman who had a good relationship with Yang Ming. There was not much other relationship. However, listening to Yang Ming's tone, this injured girl seemed to be the main character. She was the one who had a real relationship with Yang Ming. In this case, Zhong Hanlin was more serious. After entering the hospital, he didn't even have time to take off his coat and rushed to the consultation room. Zhong Hanlin was a famous brain expert in China, so for his arrival the brain doctors in the hospital warmly welcomed him. After all, sometimes listening to a few words from an authority was more important than anything else. Zhong Hanlin was let in the main seat. He took the CT film and handed it to Zhong Hanlin. Zhong Hanlin looked at the film and couldn't help but frown. After a long time he said, "It's not easy." After the doctors in the room listened, they nodded. Indeed, the situation was very difficult. None of them were sure to do this operation well. Now even Zhong Hanlin felt that it was not easy to do. Who else could do it? The difficulty of the operation is very high. I can try, but I can't guarantee whether it is successful or not, but I will do my best. Zhong Hanlin sighed and looked helplessly at Yang Ming next to him. Child, it's not that uncle doesn't want to try, but it's really difficult. Uncle Zhong, I understand. Yang Ming also sighed and said, it's fine as long as you try your best. I will. Zhong Hanlin shook his head and said, the condition of the CT machine here is not good. I think if it was in Beijing, the film taken by the latest model of CT machine should be clearer than this. But we can't send the patient to Beijing. Uncle Zhong, as long as we can see the specific location of the nerves near the bullet in Zhou Jiejia's head, then the operation can be successful? Yang Ming suddenly asked. In theory this is the case, but in fact this is impossible. Most of our surgeries are based on feelings. We can't see the nervous system in the brain. Zhong Hanlin smiled bitterly. Uncle Zhong, can we talk alone? Yang Ming took a deep breath and made a very important decision. Yes, whether it was the CT machine or the naked eye, others couldn't see it, but someone could see it. Chapter 585. This person was Yang Ming himself. Not to mention the nerves of the brain, even the capillaries and so on could be seen clearly by Yang Ming, and he could even zoom in. Yang Ming was now most comfortable with his control of his special abilities. Telescopic vision, X-ray vision, and after closing his eyes he could still conduct a 360-degree scan in all directions. Of course, Yang Ming didn't make this decision out of thin air. Before making this decision, Yang Ming first used his special ability to scan the brain structure of the other people present. When he found that he could easily see the internal structure, he made such an important decision. It seemed that this time if he wanted to let Zhou Jiejia be safe, he had to use his special abilities. However, in this way the fact that he had special abilities would be exposed. At least it couldn't be hidden from Zhong Hanlin. However, at this time, Yang Ming wasn't the time to calculate personal gains and losses. Zhou Jiejia could even give up her life for him. So what if he exposed his special abilities for her? A real man has to do something and not do it. If he was still overcautious, then it wasn't a real man at all. So thinking of this, Yang Ming also decided to fight. The relationship between Zhong Hanlin and his godfather Lu Weishan was not shallow. If he told him in advance, he shouldn't hurt him. But he was afraid that he would unintentionally tell others about his own matters. Then he could only remind him more. Zhong Hanlin thought that Yang Ming had something to say to him alone. After all, he also knew that the relationship between the injured and Yang Ming was not shallow. Zhong Hanlin nodded and stood up. Let's go. Let's go to the small conference room next door. But time is limited. After all, time is life now. Let's make it short. In front of so many people, Yang Ming couldn't say much. He just silently walked into the small conference room next door with Zhong Hanlin. Yang Ming, if you have anything to say, just say it. Uncle Zhong and you are not outsiders, but you can rest assured that I will do my best. Zhong Hanlin comforted Yang Ming. Uncle Zhong, I'm looking for you. Actually, I have something important to tell you, but it's a big deal. Yang Ming hesitated and said, Uncle Zhong, can you keep it a secret for me? What is it? Zhong Hanlin had some doubts. He didn't understand why Yang Ming wanted to tell him an important secret before the operation. He couldn't help but wonder, it's not a problem to keep it a secret, but if it's not a particularly urgent matter, can't we talk about it after the operation? Time is of the essence. Time is tight, so I'll make it short. Uncle Zhong, if you have any questions, I'll tell you slowly after the operation is successful. But now I hope Uncle Zhong can listen to me. Yang Ming's expression was solemn as he said solemnly. Well, you say it. Seeing that Yang Ming was so serious, Zhong Hanlin couldn't help but be moved. I can see the nerves and capillaries of the human brain. Yang Ming didn't have too many embellishments, but his words were shocking. What? Zhong Hanlin was stunned and looked at Yang Ming. Little nephew Yang, what are you talking about? Uncle Zhong, maybe you don't believe it, but I can see it. Yang Ming glanced at Zhong Hanlin and said, just like you, Uncle Zhong, you wear a gray-white plaid shirt under a cashmere sweater and a red underwear inside. The cashmere pants are smoky and the underwear inside is also red. Ah? How do you know this? Zhong Hanlin was stunned and then said, Yang Ming, don't joke with Uncle Zhong. Did your godfather tell you that this year is Uncle's birth year? Uncle Zhong, at this time do you think I look like I am joking with you? Yang Ming sighed and said, well, since you don't believe it, then I will continue. Your wallet is brown and there are 3 bank cards in it. One is from the China Merchants Bank, and the card number is 6225. The other is from the Industrial and Commercial Bank, and the card number is 955,888. The other is from the Bank of Communications, and the card number is 601,428. If these are not enough, you now have 6,352 yuan in your wallet, and the number of the single 50 yuan bill is GY213. Okay, no need to say it. Zhong Hanlin had opened his mouth wide at this moment. It was impossible for him not to know his 3 bank card numbers. Seeing that Yang Ming said it word by word, Zhong Hanlin was completely shocked. If the news of the birth year was revealed to Yang Ming by Lu Weishan, then Lu Weishan absolutely couldn't know the information of this bank card. The 2 old men were not short of money. It was impossible for them to transfer money to each other, so it was impossible for others to know the card number. Especially his own VIP account of the Industrial and Commercial Bank, which had never been disclosed to the public. Not to mention Lu Weishan, even his colleagues in the unit didn't know. Moreover, there were more than these 3 cards in his account. He also had other cards such as the Pudong Development Bank, the Postal Savings Bank and the Agricultural Bank, but he didn't bring them with him. Yang Ming could say what cards were in his wallet at once. Zhong Hanlin couldn't help but believe that Yang Ming had a special ability. You mean, you can see through things? Zhong Hanlin looked at Yang Ming incredulously. You can say that. Yang Ming nodded. However, I ask Uncle Zhong to keep it a secret for me. If you don't say this, I naturally know. Zhong Hanlin nodded with a serious expression. I am much older than you. I have seen a lot of things in society. Your ability is good for society but bad for society. It will destroy the social order. If the outlaws threaten you to do some bad things, then it will be troublesome. Yang Ming didn't expect Zhong Hanlin to be so reasonable. He pointed out the pros and cons of the special ability. He quickly said, since Uncle Zhong understands, then I won't say more. However, it is good that you have this ability. If you tell me the location of the brain nerve, then the success rate of the operation will be greatly improved. However, there is still a very important problem. Zhong Hanlin hesitated and said, I came to Songjiang City People's Hospital as an expert to perform the operation. Naturally, there will be many doctors watching. Even if they are not allowed to watch, they will need the help of a few nurses, so it is impossible for there to be no one in the operating room. If you are next to me, your ability will inevitably be exposed. Uncle Zhong doesn't have to worry about this. Yang Ming raised his eyes and looked in the direction of the outside of the room. Then he said, in the briefcase you brought, there is a magazine on brain science? In the first issue of this year, the 23rd page is your paper? Zhong Hanlin looked at Yang Ming in amazement. You can see such a small word from so far away? Yang Ming smiled and nodded. Well, yes, this is my ability. No matter how far away something is, it is like it is close at hand. It's amazing. Zhong Hanlin nodded and sighed. I have studied the human brain for so many years. I also know that there are some people in the world whose brain is more active than normal people. They are the so-called special ability people. I didn't expect you to be one of them. Uncle Zhong, other specific things, can I tell you in detail after we finish the operation? Now the most important thing for us is to prepare for the operation. Yang Ming saw that Zhong Hanlin wanted to continue to ask about his special ability, so he quickly reminded him. This is the case. Zhong Hanlin touched his hair embarrassedly and said, look at me. When it comes to academic issues, I can't stop. Now the operation is naturally the most important. Well, let's do it this way. Uncle Zhong, you will wear a pair of wireless headphones. Then while you do the operation, I will tell you the situation. Yang Ming said, that's for the best. This way no one will suspect anything. Zhong Hanlin smiled and nodded. I will prepare now. I wish us a happy cooperation. Happy cooperation, Yang Ming also said with a smile. This kind of wireless headphones was easy for Xiaoshui to get. The people in the police system were naturally not unfamiliar with this kind of thing. They often used it when performing tasks. Although Xiaoshui wondered why Yang Ming wanted her to get this kind of thing, Yang Ming said that Zhong Hanlin wanted it. He didn't know what to do. Xiaoshui didn't ask much. She thought that it might be more convenient to contact other people during the operation. The receiving part of the wireless headphones was handed to Zhong Hanlin. What if her daughter didn't wake up for a lifetime? In that case, if this Yang Ming really liked Zhou Jiejia, it was fine to let him marry Zhou Jiejia. If Yang Ming knew about Mother Zhou's dirty thoughts now, he would definitely be furious. But now Yang Ming just wanted to rest for a while. He was too tired just now. He was more nervous than Zhong Hanlin. Zhong Hanlin had been on the battlefield for a long time. He was as steady as Mount Tai on the operating table. With the help of Yang Ming, it could only be said that he had a better helper, which made him more comfortable in the operation. But Yang Ming was different. It was Yang Ming's first time. It would be strange if he wasn't nervous. But it had to be said that Mother Zhou's idea was not wrong. After all, most people were selfish, especially people in the business field. In this matter, Mother Zhou's first consideration was her own gains and losses. Although Zhou Jiejia had finished the operation, she was still in the intensive care unit. It would take some time before family members could visit her. However, Yang Ming was not limited by this. No matter how far away he was, he could see Zhou Jiejia's current appearance. Looking at Zhou Jiejia's shaved long hair wrapped with gauze, Yang Ming only felt a sharp pain in his heart. How should I face her? After she wakes up, what should I do? Should I fulfill the previous promise or... Yang Ming shook his head and didn't dare to think about it. Now in Yang Ming's heart, there was a very difficult feeling. Is it gratitude? Is it sympathy? But is it love? Yang Ming didn't know. But what Yang Ming knew was that what he owed Zhou Jiejia, he couldn't pay it back in this life. That is a life. How can I repay it? What a silly girl. Is it worth it? Zhou Jiejia likes me, but I don't know it. But what made Yang Ming wonder was, when did Zhou Jiejia start to fall in love with me? Junior high school. This possibility was obviously there, but Yang Ming didn't think it was big. University? That was even more impossible. There was nothing special between me and her. Although Yang Ming felt that his luck with women was good, it was also based on some special events to capture a girl's heart. Yang Ming was narcissistic and he wouldn't think that he was a bastard when he stood there. A beautiful girl would take the initiative to come to him. That was impossible. If that was the case, why didn't a girl like me for 3 years in high school? Therefore, Yang Ming didn't think that he had any bastard aura. It seemed that this mystery could only be explained when Zhou Jiejia woke up. Yang Ming rubbed his temples and drank the herbal tea in his hand. He got up and left the lounge. At this time, Zhong Hanlin was explaining the experience of the surgery to the doctors. When he saw Yang Ming coming over, he immediately nodded to him. Their eyes met and everything was understood without words. However, Xia Shui was very dissatisfied with Yang Ming's disappearance during the surgery. What did you do just now? Do you think it was easy for me? I just finished competing with you and then I had to take Wang Shifan as a hostage under the threat of so many people. My physical strength was seriously overdrawn. I just asked Uncle Zhong to help me find a lounge for a little rest. Yang Ming explained in a low voice. Turned out to be like this. After listening to Yang Ming, Xia Shui no longer pursued Yang Ming's responsibility. After all, Yang Ming was telling the truth. At that time, Yang Ming could hold the injured Zhou Jiejia and subdue Wang Shifan. It was really not easy. Xia Shui asked herself if she could do it. It seemed that the previous loss to Yang Ming was not an accident. Yang Ming did have his outstanding points. Thinking of this, Xia Shui's mentality was balanced, but the matter of being spanked by Yang Ming was still somewhat brooding. That was my private place. If it was spread out, how am I going to face others? However, when she thought about how she broke into the bathroom and saw Yang Ming taking a shower, these two matters were considered even. However, why did Xia Shui feel that she seemed to have suffered more losses? Xia Shui also knew that Yang Ming was very tired, but there were some things that couldn't be done just because he was tired. Yang Ming, as one of the important parties, must follow Xia Shui to the police station to record a statement. Yang Ming also knew that this was a necessary procedure, so he didn't refuse. Uncle Zhong, Xia Shui and I still have some things to do at the police station. You go back to Godfather first. I will go back later. Yang Ming and Zhong Hanlin greeted. Yang Ming, I guess both of us will go back later. I can't leave now. These doctors came to me to discuss knowledge and insisted that I stay here for dinner. Zhong Hanlin smiled bitterly. Well, let's keep in touch by phone. Long before Zhong Hanlin boarded the plane, Lu Weishan told Zhong Hanlin Yang Ming's phone number. Of course, he also told Yang Ming Zhong Hanlin's phone number. Zhong Hanlin nodded and continued to discuss academic issues with the doctors. Where is the gun? In the car, Xia Shui looked at Yang Ming and asked, "What gun?" Yang Ming asked knowingly. "The gun in the hands of Zhou Jiejia and Wang Jitao." Xia Shui snorted. "Don't tell me that you didn't see it. Privately possessing a gun is a big crime. Hurry up and take it out." "Damn, you were talking about that gun. How do I know where it is?" Yang Ming said indifferently. "Yang Ming, I can tell you. Don't think about any luck. Captain Chen just called me. The gun was not found at the scene." Xia Shui threatened. Yang Ming shrugged his shoulders and spread his hands. "There are so many people. Who knows who took it? If you don't believe me, you can search me. Why do you always suspect me now? What was the situation at the time? How can I pay attention to where the gun is?" "Well, I believe you." Xia Shui also knew that the situation was chaotic. The chances of Yang Ming getting the gun were slim. But now they had to go to the police station. If the gun was on Yang Ming, he had no place to hide. However, what did Yang Ming do? He was an assassin. The best thing for an assassin was to hide a gun. He could hide the gun in many places at will without being discovered. Just now, Yang Ming had hidden the gun in the hospital's bathroom. It was estimated that except for Yang Ming, if no one searched, it would be difficult to find it. The reason why Yang Ming secretly kept the gun was because the gun was smuggled. There was no record, so it was convenient to do things. Because after this matter was settled down, the bullet in Zhou Jiejia's head would be sealed as evidence. It would be difficult to check the ballistic traces. Another point was that he was going to give the gun to Ho Junhan and the others so that they could feel it. Even if they didn't use it, they could take it out to scare people. They could also be badass when negotiating with people. Because the people who recorded Yang Ming's statement in the police station were all Chen Fei's men, and Xia Shui explained some things together, so it wasn't difficult for Yang Ming. Moreover, in just a short time, Wang Shifan had completely confessed to the crime. Therefore, the meaning of Yang Ming's confession wasn't very big. Wang Shifan knew that he definitely couldn't get out this time. He also had an attitude that he would definitely die. Although people with discerning eyes could see that Yang Ming alone had a great contribution in this matter, Yang Ming didn't have any intention to take the credit. He also repeatedly asked to handle it in a low-key manner and not let his parents know. In this way, Xia Shui couldn't take the credit even if she didn't want it. Yang Ming didn't want the credit, but the credit had to fall to one person, right? At that time, only Xia Shui was at the scene, so Xia Shui couldn't reject it even if she wanted to. Catching a smuggling crocodile, that was absolutely shocking news. Not to mention how it was caught, and no matter how torturous the process was in the middle, there always had to be a hero in a major case. And Xia Shui became the hero who cracked down on the smuggling crime. It couldn't be helped. Even if others wanted to take this credit, they couldn't take it. Therefore, Xia Shui was not only rewarded by the municipal government, but she was also awarded the third-class merit by the provincial department and was awarded the rank of second-class police superintendent. However, because she was too young, she didn't get a promotion. But thinking about it, if she made more contributions in the future, promotion was definitely not a problem. In particular, Xia Shui was a young and beautiful policewoman, which was in line with the positive image of TV publicity. Therefore, for a time the streets, TV and newspapers were full of news about Xia Shui. Walking out of the police station, Yang Ming suddenly received a call from Bao Sanli. "Hello? What's the matter?" Yang Ming was a bit puzzled. "I just got a gun and wanted to look for him. Why did this guy look for me first?" "Brother Yang, Gu Jianchao is here. He wants to see you at the Nightless Club." Bao Sanli's attitude toward Yang Ming was now respectful because he also knew that Yang Ming's identity was different at this moment. Yang Ming represented Mr. Y, which was his current big boss. "Gu Jianchao." Yang Ming said, "What is he doing here?" "I don't know, but he said that he has something important to see you," said Bao Sanli. "Well, let him wait. I will go now." Yang Ming agreed after thinking about it. "I looked for Gu Jianchao alone a while ago and asked him to help collect some evidence of Wang Shifan. Could it be that he collected these? No matter what he wants to do, I have to go to Bao Sanli's place anyway. As the direct boss of Bao Sanli, how could his underlings not have a gun? Even the boss of the Four Snakes gang had a gun. Bao Sanli was the boss of a city. He was much more powerful than Brother Snake. However, using a black gun wasn't a long-term thing. Yang Ming planned to ask Xia Shui and Chen Fei in a few days to see if he could apply for a gun license for Bao Sanli's security company. Yang Ming returned to the hospital and took out the gun that was hidden in advance. Then he went straight to the nightless club. When Yang Ming arrived, Bao Sanli was already at the door to greet him. This made Yang Ming a little dumbfounded. He had already told Bao Sanli not to reveal his identity. This guy actually made it so obvious. However, Bao Sanli was a rough person with a one-track mind. His awe for Yang Ming was also from the heart. It was quite difficult for him not to come out and greet him. However, Bao Sanli's respectful attitude made Gu Jianchao a little surprised. What is the identity of this Yang Ming? He actually let the boss of Songjiang City personally greet him? Originally, Gu Jianchao just thought that even if Yang Ming was very powerful, he was just a friend of Bao Sanli. He helped him to collect Wang Shifan's materials because of Bao Sanli and the video. But now he had to re-examine Yang Ming's ability. As for my plan, shouldn't I change the target of my cooperation? During this time, Gu Jianchao also heard a little about the changes in Songjiang's underworld. Today's Bao Sanli was no longer the same as before. He used to be just a powerful big pao, but now his identity was Songjiang's top boss. But what about the identity of Yang Ming? Is he more powerful than the boss of Songjiang? Gu Jianchao was only 30 years old and he was already sitting in the position of vice president. It showed that his brain was good enough. He wasn't a fool, so he thought of a series of problems in a flash. He knew Sun Jie's identity. Sun Jie's father, Sun Hongjun, was the boss behind Dong Hai. Although the boss on the surface was the Tian family's master, Tian Dejin, Gu Jianchao secretly investigated and found that the one who really controlled Dong Hai was the Sun family. This also strengthened his belief in pursuing Sun Jie. And Yang Ming, a seemingly mediocre little punk, was Sun Jie's boyfriend. When he association with Bao Sanli's attitude just now, then the true identity of Yang Ming was obvious. Could it be that Yang Ming was also the young master of the boss behind Songjiang? Bao Sanli, the boss at the front desk, was also a worker similar to Tian Dajin? Thinking of this, Gu Jianchao's face twitched involuntarily. Motherfucker, I'm really lucky. I was just raped by Yang Ming for a woman and I didn't lose my life. That's really lucky. Thinking of this, then the conflict with the little waitress and the subsequent appearance of Bao Sanli and Yang Ming's help were not accidental. They were arranged in advance to mess with me. However, even if I figured it out, so what? Gu Jianchao didn't dare to say it. He was still young. He didn't want to die without knowing the reason. He had to admit that Gu Jianchao was actually able to guess Yang Ming's identity in just a few minutes. His brain was really not ordinary enough. It could only be said that this guy was a genius. Brother Yang. Gu Jianchao understood the identity of Yang Ming. He immediately became fearful. He nodded and came over to greet Yang Ming. And Yang Ming didn't know why Gu Jianchao was suddenly so enthusiastic. When he asked Gu Jianchao to collect evidence last time, although this guy agreed without saying anything, he was obviously not as enthusiastic as now. Why are you looking for me? Asked Yang Ming faintly. Brother Yang, the last time you asked me to collect evidence of President Wang. No, Wang Shifan, I have collected some, but it's not very fatal. Gu Jianchao said carefully. Let's go in and talk. Yang Ming frowned. Now there was no need for this evidence. Wang Shifan's death sentence was basically a foregone conclusion. There was no suspense. The three of them found a small meeting room. Bao Sanli opened the door, but he didn't dare to go in first. He said to Yang Ming, Brother Yang, please. Yang Ming smiled and said, Brother Bao, what are you doing? You made it seem like a stranger. I'm not used to it. But, Brother Yang, Bao Sanli also scratched his head. He didn't have too many thoughts. He was straightforward. He only knew that Yang Ming's current identity was much more powerful than him, so he unconsciously showed respect. Forget it. Yang Ming looked at his embarrassment and waved his hand. In the future, don't be like this in front of outsiders. Today only Jianchao was here. Otherwise, if this spread out, I wouldn't be able to go to school peacefully. Yes, Brother Yang. When he heard Yang Ming say this, Bao Sanli suddenly realized that Gu Jianchao couldn't be counted as one of his own people. If this guy went out and yelled, wouldn't it be bad? Previously, Bao Sanli felt that Gu Jianchao was also working for Yang Ming, so there was nothing to hide. So he brought Gu Jianchao out to wait for Yang Ming. But now it seemed that who knew if this kid was tight-lipped? Thinking of this, a murderous intent appeared in his eyes. Brother Yang, or Gu Jianchao couldn't help but shudder. Oh my God, is he going to kill me to silence me? In fact, Gu Jianchao thought too much. Even if he was in the underworld, it was impossible to kill people casually. However, Gu Jianchao was bewitched by the Hong Kong and Taiwan movies. He thought that the people in the underworld didn't care about human life. How could he not be afraid? His legs went soft and he almost knelt on the ground. Brother Yang, I didn't see anything. No, I'm already one of your people. Now I'm also working for you loyally. Please don't kill me when I've outlived my usefulness. You are elegant, dignified, strategizing, decisive, condescending, irresistible, unparalleled, and unique. I have already crawled under your feet and decided to pledge my loyalty to you. Yang Ming held back his smile and thought, this guy really knows how to change the rudder according to the wind. Although Wang Shifan fell, the Wang's group didn't fall. Yang Ming also knew that Wang Jitao's matter couldn't involve the Wang's group. When the time came, if Wang Jitao inherited the Wang's group, maybe this kid would use some underhanded means to deal with him. It was better to simply leave a spy in the Wang's group and find an opportunity to take down this kid. However, for people like Gu Jianchao, there must be an absolute deterrent. Otherwise, this guy would obviously change his mind. Although there was a video in his hand as a threat, it was hard to guarantee that he wouldn't betray in front of a more powerful force. Thinking of this, Yang Ming's heart moved. He threw the pistol in front of Bao Sanli and said, "This is for you." However, Gu Jianchao was almost scared out of his wits. What does Yang Ming mean by taking out the pistol? Could it be that he wants Bao Sanli to kill me? Gu Jianchao slid to the ground this time and looked at Yang Ming blankly. Brother Yang, I am really sincere in surrendering to you. I will be your little soldier in the future. I will be at your beck and call. I will follow your orders. If I go back on my words, let me die a horrible death. Rocket will shoot into my ass. Okay. Yang Ming said, your mouth. Don't worry. That gun isn't used to kill you. Don't be like this in the future. You will work for me in the future. I won't treat you badly. I don't want my underling to be a coward. Yes. Brother Yang, you are invincible and powerful. You will definitely not lay your hands on a loyal little soldier. Gu Jianchao continued to flatter, I am only weak in front of Brother Yang's unparalleled spirit. I don't think others are as powerful as Brother Yang. Well, you remember what you said today. If I want to kill you, it's actually very easy. Yang Ming waved his hand and said, if you want to die, you don't need any rocket. A pen is enough. As Yang Ming said, he picked up the oil pen on the table and pointed to the peephole on the door. Look there. As he said, the oil pen flew out from Yang Ming's hand and pierced into the peephole. Apparently, it had penetrated through the door. A plastic oil pen can penetrate the glass peephole at a distance of more than 4 meters. How much strength and accuracy does this require? Not only was Gu Jianchao dumbfounded, but Bao Sanli also opened his mouth wide. The only thought in their minds was that Brother Yang was really fierce. The previous words used on him were also very appropriate. Gu Jianchao took a deep breath. Not to mention the rocket shooting into my ass, I can't even stand this oil pen. Wang Shifan is already finished. The evidence is useless. Yang Ming waved his hand and said, if my guess is right, the person who will take over should be Wang Jitao. Brother Yang, I came here this time for this matter. Gu Jianchao quickly flattered, I was collecting evidence of Wang Shifan, but I got such a document from the safe in his office. What document? Yang Ming frowned and asked. Equity transfer letter. Gu Jianchao smiled and said, Wang Shifan's equity transfer letter. There is Wang Shifan's signature on it. As Gu Jianchao said this, he handed a portfolio to Yang Ming. Equity transfer letter? What equity? Wang's group? Yang Ming asked in his heart. Yes, it's Wang's group. Gu Jianchao smiled and said, in order to collect evidence of Wang Shifan's crime, I found someone to crack the fingerprint safe in Wang Shifan's office and took out this document from it. Yang Ming opened the portfolio and asked while looking, this document should be transferred to Wang Jitao, right? Even if we get it, it's useless, right? Oh no. This authorization letter is blank. Gu Jianchao waved his hand and said, Brother Yang, look. Yang Ming flipped through the party beyond the authorization letter. It was indeed blank. He was shocked. Why is this the case? At that time, Wang Shifan didn't finally decide whether to transfer the equity in his hand to Wang Jitao or his own wife. So after the contract was drafted, it was left empty. Later I found out, so I forged a fake contract and put it in the safe. Perhaps the fake contract is in the hands of Wang Jitao? Gu Jianchao smiled. In other words, through this document we are likely to take down the Wang's group? A crazy idea suddenly appeared in Yang Ming's mind. If you don't eliminate the root of the problem, it will grow again when the spring breeze comes. Sometimes you have to be ruthless. If the group is left to Wang Jitao, this guy may still be thinking of ways to harm me. Yes, this is feasible. Gu Jianchao nodded. If Wang Shifan didn't find out and gave the fake authorization letter to Wang Jitao, then we have the feasibility of the operation. Why don't you do it yourself? That's hundreds of millions of assets. Yang Ming looked at Gu Jianchao deeply. Brother Yang, I won't hide it from you. When I got this contract, it was impossible for me to not have any thoughts. But I also know that I'm just a vice president. If I don't have a backer, it's really difficult to handle this matter. But if there is a force in Songjiang that supports me, then it is very possible to take down the Wang's group in one fell swoop, said Gu Jianchao. Yang Ming nodded. I understand. In fact, you didn't come to me today. You wanted to find Bao Sanli before. You wanted to cooperate with him. To do this kind of thing, it's best to let the people in the underworld come forward. Other people wouldn't dare to say anything. Yang Ming slightly understood Gu Jianchao's meaning. Am I right? I don't dare to lie to Brother Yang. You are right. Indeed, I thought so at the beginning. But now how can I be qualified to talk about cooperation with Brother Yang? Right now I'm just a small soldier of yours. This is my gift to you. Gu Jianchao said honestly. Yang Ming nodded and was very satisfied with Gu Jianchao's answer. Well, you and Bao Sanli study the operability of this thing. Jianchao, you are a person in the business world. You should be more familiar with these rules than me. As for how to operate and cooperate, I will let Bao Sanli and Ho Zhenhan fully support you. If this thing can be successful, then you will be the hero. I will not treat you unfairly. Half of the shares will be yours. Yang Ming also knew that if you want a horse to run fast, you must give it enough food. You can't be too harsh on your own people. If there are enough benefits, then people will work for you. Moreover, the Wang's group was an unexpected windfall for Yang Ming. So what if he distributed a part of it? As long as he didn't let Wang Jitao get any benefits, it would be fine. I don't dare to take half. How about this? Brother Yang, I know you are good to me. Just 1/3. This is enough. Gu Jianchao said quickly in fear. Pay as you wish. Yang Ming saw that Gu Jianchao wasn't a greedy person, and he was slightly gratified. Don't worry, Brother Yang. I will try my best to do this. Gu Jianchao immediately expressed his loyalty. As for my identity, it is enough for you to know. Don't say it again. Yang Ming said faintly, the less you know, the less suspicious you will be. Gu Jianchao was stunned. Originally, he wanted to inquire about Yang Ming's identity from Bao Sanli after Yang Ming left, but at this moment he immediately dispelled this idea and didn't dare to think about it again. Chapter 586. From the beginning to the end, Gu Jianchao couldn't figure out the identity of Yang Ming. However, he didn't dare to ask. Who would want to live a long life? Looking at Bao Sanli fiddling with the gun, Gu Jianchao couldn't help but shiver. What kind of people are they? I blame myself for being lustful. I wanted to pursue Sun Jia, so I provoked such a strong person like Yang Ming. However, it was a blessing in disguise. If there was no such incident, I may not have the opportunity now. Without the support of Bao Sanli, he really didn't dare to plan this kind of murderous business. Thinking of this, Gu Jianchao also felt balanced. He squeezed out a smile and said to Bao Sanli, Brother Bao, let's study it first? Okay, President Gu, I will call President Ho over. Let's discuss it together. Bao Sanli nodded. The thing that Yang Ming gave him was the same as what Mr. Y said, so Bao Sanli had to do it well. Brother Bao, you call me President Gu. Isn't this insulting me? Just call me Xiao Gu. Gu Jianchao saw that Bao Sanli was so polite, so he immediately said in fear and trepidation, President Gu is too polite. Now that you and I are working for Brother Yang, there is no difference in seniority. It is only right for me to call you President Gu. Bao Sanli said with a smile, don't say this again. We are responsible for each other. That is a relationship of the same level. We will help each other in the future. Yes, Brother Bao is right. We are all working for Brother Yang. Gu Jianchao was excited in his heart. Who is Bao Sanli? The boss of Songjiang is actually on the same level as me. Seems that it is good to work for Brother Yang. My status has also improved a lot. Although Guo Jianchao felt that he used to be the vice president of the Wang's group, which was already very badass, that was only the status in the business world. Now with the relationship with Bao Sanli, Guo Jianchao's social status had also improved. If he said that he was Bao Sanli's brother to the outside world, he would have a lot of face. But brother Bao calling me boss Guo is too polite. How about this, I'll call you brother Bao and you can call me younger brother Guo. Anyway, we're all working for brother Yang, so we're no different from brothers. Awesome. Bao Sanli nodded and patted Guo Jianchao's shoulder. You can rest assured. I will recognize you as my younger brother. In the future, if anyone dares to bully you in Songjiang, just tell me. That's right, that's right. If I were to be bullied, then brother Yang's face would be affected as well. Guo Jianchao was even more adept at playing along as he spoke. Not long after, Ho Zhenhan rushed over. When Yang Ming came just now, Ho Zhenhan was dealing with some affairs and couldn't get away. During the Chinese New Year, there were so many employees under him. Naturally, he had to give out some New Year's goods and bonuses. Bao Sanli definitely couldn't do these, so he had to rely on him. Now that he got away, it was because he heard that Yang Ming had something important for them to discuss. Otherwise, there would be no time at all. What's the matter? Is there anything important to discuss? Ho Zhenhan asked directly as soon as he entered the door. Let younger brother Guo introduce it to you. Bao Sanli wasn't very good at business, so he directly pushed it to Guo Jianchao. Originally, this matter was handled by Guo Jianchao, so he was familiar with many things inside. He took out the contract and began to talk about his plan. Brother Ho, things are like this. And it sounds good. Ho Zhenhan's mind was very flexible. Otherwise, the Nightless Club and the Mingyang Security Company couldn't be run by him so well. When he heard Guo Jianchao's plan, he knew that this matter was very promising. Yes, with the legal documents in hand, what was there to be afraid of? However, this also depended on how to operate it and who to operate it. If people without any foundation were to do this, the possibility of success was indeed not high. However, if Ho Zhenhan and Bao Sanli were to do it, the possibility of success would be much higher. Not to mention that the relationships in all aspects were very smooth, but the lawyers on his side were also ruthless people. Think about it. How could a lawyer for the underworld be good? Therefore, everything depends on human effort. This matter might not be possible for others to operate, but in Ho Zhenhan's hands, it wasn't very difficult. Ho Zhenhan found a few very badass lawyers to come over and discuss how to operate this matter. Because they were all on the same side, these lawyers also belonged to the underworld, so they didn't avoid arousing suspicion. Ho Zhenhan directly said his purpose. These lawyers were also veterans in this field. They often dealt with some underworld inheritance issues. The underworld's property was the most troublesome. In many cases, some industries were written with the name of a certain underworld boss. Once the boss died, the ownership of the industry would be more troublesome. But these people specialized in dealing with this kind of trouble. In the beginning, Yu Xiangda's industry was taken over by a few of them. Therefore, when it came to this kind of appropriation of other people's property, these people were very handy. They immediately proposed a few very feasible ways. After Yang Ming came out from the Nightless Club, he took a taxi to Lu Weishan's home. But on the way, he also called his parents and told them that he was going to his godfather's house as a guest. He asked them not to worry. Zhong Hanlin's wife and little grandson were already at Lu Weishan's house. When Yang Ming entered the house, Shao Qing was playing with Shuang Zhong. The two people were playing poker. It was a deck of cards. Each of the two people randomly pulled out a card and then compared the size of the card. Shao Qing didn't know what kind of luck she had. She actually got a bigger card than Xiao Zhong. She made Xiao Zhong sullen and unhappy. I say, Sister Shao Qing, can't you give in to him? He's just a kid. Yang Ming smiled bitterly and shook his head. This thing, how do you expect me to give in? It's completely a lucky thing. Shao Qing was helpless. My luck is really good today. If I go to Macau to gamble, won't I make a fortune? Ha, Xiao Zhong, look at uncle coming over to play with you. Yang Ming smiled. What uncle? Obviously you are my brother. I am 10 years old. Xiao Zhong looked at Yang Ming unconvinced. Can you help me win against auntie? When Yang Ming heard it, he almost fell to the ground. Brother? Damn, you call Shao Qing auntie and you call me brother. Are you insulting me or Shao Qing? Little brat, don't you know that this is very hurtful? Sure enough, Yang Ming looked up and saw a hint of helplessness in Xiaoqing's eyes. Xiaoqing did look very mature, but she wasn't old. Yang Ming glared at Xiao Xiaozhong and said, "Don't talk nonsense. I am your auntie's younger brother. If you call me brother, won't you mess up the seniority? Well then, if you help me win against auntie, I will call you uncle." Xiao Xiaozhong said as he rolled his eyes. "Well, this is what you said." Yang Ming nodded and said to Xiao Xiaozhong, "Come on, let's see who is bigger, right? You see how uncle wins against your auntie. Let's talk about it after we win, brother." Xiao Xiaozhong was obviously not afraid of Yang Ming because his parents weren't around, and he was deeply doted by Zhong Hanlin and his wife. "You draw first." Yang Ming gestured to Xiaoqing to draw the card first. Xiaoqing was helpless. When she saw that Yang Ming was serious, she had to continue to play. She also knew that Yang Ming was fighting for her, and she couldn't help but feel happy. When Xiaoqing turned the card in her hand, Yang Ming, Xiao Xiaozhong, and even Xiaoqing herself had their mouths wide open. Two of spades. According to the game of Northern playing Empress, this two was the biggest card in the ordinary cards. Above it was the king and queen. When Xiao Xiaozhong saw this scene, he immediately looked at Yang Ming proudly and laughed. The meaning was self-evident. "You're done for. You're going to lose." Yang Ming scratched his head. "It seems that Xiaoqing is really lucky. I can't accept it." Yang Ming sighed. "It's me. If it were another person, I would just admit defeat." Yang Ming casually touched the pile of cards, pulled out a card and turned it over on the table. "What?" Xiao Xiaozhong widened his eyes. "This works too." The card that Yang Ming pulled out was actually a king. It was like a two of big and queen. "Is it okay? Call me uncle." Yang Ming shrugged at Xiao Xiaozhong. "No, you're lucky. You two compete again." Xiao Xiaozhong felt that it was incredible. Isn't this Yang Ming's luck a bit too good? All right. Yang Ming didn't want to argue with the child, so he nodded and gestured to Xiaoqing to draw a card. This time Xiaoqing's luck wasn't as good as last time, but the card was still very big. It was a king of hearts. Yang Ming simply pulled out a king of hearts this time. This time Xiao Xiaozhong was completely dumbfounded. Although reluctant, he still called little uncle. Yang Ming responded happily and winked at Xiaoqing. Xiaoqing shook her head helplessly. On the TV over there, a cartoon was playing. Xiao Xiaozhong threw away the cards in his hand and ran to watch the TV. There was only Yang Ming and Xiaoqing left here. Xiaoqing tidied up the cards on the bed and said to Yang Ming helplessly, Why are you arguing with a child? Who asked him to call you little aunt but call me brother? Isn't this obviously sarcastic that you are much older than me?" Yang Ming said indifferently. "How does he know about your relationship with me? Forget it. What the child said is also true. I am indeed more than 10 years older than you." Xiaoqing sighed and said, "Sister Xiaoqing, are you unhappy?" Yang Ming sensed that there was a trace of melancholy between Xiaoqing's eyebrows. "No, what is there to be unhappy about?" Xiaoqing's emotions were well controlled. In the blink of an eye, she had a smiling expression. "Sister Xiaoqing." Yang Ming reached out and held Xiaoqing's soft little hand. "What are you doing? Aren't you afraid that others will see it?" Xiaoqing was anxious and wanted to withdraw her hand. "What are you afraid of? Don't forget your husband's ability." Yang Ming blinked and smiled. "What husband? Don't talk nonsense. If Godfather hears it, it won't be good." Xiaoqing said shyly, "I guess that you used your special ability to bully children. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to continuously draw a king of hearts." If I don't use some tricks, how can this child be so obedient?" Yang Ming said, "Isn't it because I am afraid that you will be sad? In fact, you are young enough. It is normal to say that you are 25 or 26 years old." I don't know who it was that called me auntie." Xiaoqing complained. "Sweat." Yang Ming touched his chin and said, "Didn't I already explain it? Who asked you to say that I am a pervert? Aren't you?" Xiaoqing glared at him and looked at Yang Ming with a smile. "You cannot admit it, but don't come to me in the future." "Sister Xiaoqing, let's not talk about this." Yang Ming was embarrassed. "Hey, I won't tease you anymore. Time makes people grow old. I don't have many years of youth left. As long as you don't ignore me in the future, it will be fine." Xiaoqing stood up and turned to walk out of the house. "Sister Xiaoqing." Yang Ming wanted to say something, but he was interrupted by Xiaoqing. I'm going to help Mom. Don't say it. I understand. I am just lamenting. Your sister's youth is invincible. I'm still like this at 50 years old. Xiaoqing smiled. Hey. Yang Ming widened his eyes. It was rare for Xiaoqing to joke with him, but it could be seen that Xiaoqing's mood was still good. Yang Ming was relieved. When dinner was ready, Zhong Hanlin still rushed back. It seemed that he had pushed away the social interaction and came to catch up with his old friend for many years. Lu Weishan seemed to have known that he would come back. He had prepared a bowl and chopsticks for him. When the two old men met, they hugged. Yang Ming and Xiaoqing stared. Lu Weishan, who had always been steady, also had such a passionate and unrestrained time. Lu Weishan and Zhong Hanlin chatted while eating. They recalled the interesting things when they were in school and the anecdotes when they joined the army. Yang Ming and the others also listened with great interest. Listening to Lu Weishan and Zhong Hanlin talk about how they used to catch grasshoppers and fight crickets together when they were young, it really had the flavor of the articles from the 100 Herb Garden to the 3 Flavors bookstore. After dinner, Yang Ming was ready to get up and leave, but he was stopped by Zhong Hanlin. Old Lu, do you mind if I talk to your godson? Zhong Hanlin asked with a smile. If you want to talk about it, then talk about it. Do you think you can snatch it away? Lu Weishan revealed a rare childlike side as he joked. Yang Ming knew why Zhong Hanlin was looking for him, so he didn't ask much. He came to Lu Weishan's study with Zhong Hanlin. Since both of them were guests, they sat on both sides of the sofa on the coffee table. No one sat in the boss chair behind the desk. Yang Ming, today's operation was very successful. It was the first time in my life to do such an operation. Zhong Hanlin sighed. Hee Uncle Zhong, I have no other way. It's also a coincidence that I have this ability. Yang Ming nodded. Yang Ming, your godfather still doesn't know about this, right? Zhong Hanlin asked. Yes, I didn't tell my godfather. Even my parents don't know. Yang Ming said. So that's the case. Zhong Hanlin hesitated and then said, then don't let old Lu know. The fewer people who know about this kind of thing, the better. Yang Ming nodded and said, I think so too. An innocent man gets into trouble because of his wealth. Seems that you still trust me. Aren't you afraid that I will say it? Zhong Hanlin smiled. Uncle Zhong and my godfather can be said to be best friends. After so many years of relationship, they are like brothers. It should be said that they are closer than brothers. I think Uncle Zhong can't harm me anyway. Yang Ming said. You are right. Shen and I, you are his godson. In fact, there is no difference between you and my godson. Zhong Hanlin nodded and said, if it were another person, I would find a way to bring him to Beijing and give him a brainwave or something. But you don't have to. I don't want you to be targeted by people with bad intentions. This matter ends here. I know. Don't let a third person know. You can rest assured that Uncle Zhong is a person who is about to enter the ground. I won't talk so much. Thank you, Uncle Zhong. Yang Ming said quickly. I don't know what your relationship with the injured girl is, but as an elder, I still have to remind you that you should think twice before you do anything in the future. Don't be so impulsive. Zhong Hanlin reminded, today the person you told is me. That's fine. But if you change it to an unfamiliar person, you are likely to be in trouble in the future. I know, Uncle Zhong. I will be careful in the future. Yang Ming said humbly. Weishan's son has already had an accident. I don't want anything to happen to his godson. We are old. We can't afford to be hit too hard. Zhong Hanlin said, you see, Weishan and I are about the same age, but he is obviously much older than me. Why? Isn't it because of that matter? So, Yang Ming, you have to remember that you are not only living for yourself but also for the people around you. Yang Ming nodded deeply. Zhong Hanlin waved his hand and stood up. The two people went out of the study together. Old Zhong, what did you say to Big Ming? Lu Weishan saw the two people coming out and asked casually. Nothing. I just told him about the situation of the injured so that he could be mentally prepared. Zhong Hanlin said naturally. Oh, that's it. Go. I have cleaned up the bedroom for you. Let's sleep together tonight and talk about the old days. Lu Weishan was in good spirits today. He was very excited. Even if you don't say it, I have to disturb you. I don't know if sister-in-law will agree. Zhong Hanlin joked. You go. We are an old couple. Do we still need 1 or 2 nights? Chu Huifang said as she prepared the bedding. Yang Ming said goodbye to Lu Weishan and his wife as well as Zhong Hanlin and his wife. He was ready to go home. Xiaoqing also came over and said, "It just so happens that I am going back. Let's go together. Otherwise the road is dark. I'm still a little scared." "Right, Big Ming, you send your sister directly to her door." Chu Huifeng immediately said, "It is before the Chinese New Year. The students in the school are on holiday. It is not safe." "I know, Godmother." Yang Ming nodded. "Don't worry. I will take care of this mission of protecting the flower." Xiaoqing heard Yang Ming talk about protecting the flower. He was shocked. "How can you say this casually?" However, when she saw that Chu Huifeng and others didn't have a different expression, she knew that Yang Ming was joking. Xiaoqing glared at Yang Ming angrily. "You made me worry so much." Yang Ming pretended not to see it and continued to say, When the bad guys see that your boyfriend is so tall and strong, they will definitely not dare to act rashly." Xiaoqing was so angry that she gritted her teeth, but everyone just took it as a joke and smiled. Yang Ming was happy verbally, but then came the problem. When he arrived at the door of Xiaoqing's house, Xiaoqing didn't let him in. Instead she said coldly, "Well, I am home. You can go back." "Sister Xiaoqing, are you really angry?" Yang Ming had to ask with a smile. "No, who is angry? The flower protecting the flower has reached home. It is time to go back. Could it be that you want to steal what you are guarding?" Xiaoqing said. "Am I not joking?" "Well, good Qing, don't be angry." Yang Ming said. "Forget it. I am too lazy to argue with you." Xiaoqing was older than Yang Ming. It was okay to be coquettish occasionally. After a long time she felt that her face was a little hot, so she moved aside and was ready to ask Yang Ming to enter the house. However, when Yang Ming entered the house, Xiaoqing was about to close the door, but the door was locked by a hand. "Yo, the young couple is quarreling. Don't rush to close the door." A burly black-faced macho man looked at Xiaoqing and said with a smile, "Who are you?" Xiaoqing was shocked and shouted, "What are you shouting for? Motherfucker, don't you want to live?" The black-faced macho man wasn't alone. There was a bald man next to him, so he was unwilling immediately. "Shua," he showed his knife. "If you don't want to die, don't be noisy." Qing, what's wrong with you?" Yang Ming heard Xiaoqing's exclamation and turned around abruptly. Just now he only cared about flirting with Xiaoqing, so he didn't pay attention to where these two guys came from. "Shut up. Stay here honestly or else I will stab your wife to death." The bald man was a much more ruthless character than the black-faced macho man. However, he didn't put Yang Ming in his eyes. In his opinion, the two of them could completely deal with this family. "What do you want?" Yang Ming frowned. "Why are these two people so blind? Don't they know that I want to do something with my beloved Xiaoqing? Why are they bothering me?" "Nothing much. We brothers are just looking for money. Take out the cash and gold and silver jewelry. We want digital cameras and cell phones. Give us the things and we will leave. We won't hurt you," said the black-faced macho man. Yang Ming suddenly felt a little funny. Robbing me? These two guys are really unlucky. However, after the incident with Zhou Jiejia, Yang Ming particularly hated people who used women to threaten him. So when the bald man said that he was going to stab Xiaoqing to death, Yang Ming's heart had a murderous intention. Threatening the king of assassins? Do you think you don't want to die fast enough? Both of you come in and lock the door. It won't be good for you if the neighbors see it. Yang Ming said, "Let her go. We can talk about it." At least you know what's good for you." When the bald man heard Yang Ming's words, he thought, this kid is really smart. We don't want to stand at the door like this. If the neighbors see it and call the police, we will be done for. After entering the house and closing the door, the bald man didn't care about Xiaoqing. In his opinion, this couple didn't have the ability to resist at all. Now it was like catching a turtle in a jar. "Hurry up. Don't waste time. After I finish this job, I still have to go to someone else's house. I can tell you that I came from the south. I killed 3 people there." The bald man threatened. "Really? Hee, but you only have 2 people. 2 against 3, it is still a bit of a loss." Seeing that the 2 people closed the door, Yang Ming immediately changed his tone and said condescendingly, "What did you say?" The bald man was stunned. He didn't understand Yang Ming's words. "What do you fucking mean?" "Nothing. It's just that you are going to die soon." Yang Ming's voice fell and he made a move. No, it should be his feet. He kicked the black-faced and bald man's temples. Yang Ming didn't show mercy at all, so these two people would be disabled even if they didn't die. As for the reason why Yang Ming was so ruthless, first it was because these two people used Xiaoqing to threaten Yang Ming. Second, it was because these two guys saw Yang Ming and Xiaoqing flirting at the door. If they went to the police station and made a fuss, it wouldn't look good on Xiaoqing. Therefore Yang Ming directly had the idea of silencing them. Couldn't be said that Yang Ming was vicious, but these two guys really deserved it. Yang Ming was not afraid of any trouble. Robbery in a house was very bad in nature. He was justifiable self-defense. Besides, he just kicked like that. It couldn't be said that he did it deliberately, right? Who can kick someone to death with one kick? Unless it was a mistake. If it was a mistake, then he couldn't be blamed. However, Yang Ming still controlled his strength. At most, one would be in a vegetative state and the other would die on the spot. Then what happened? Xiaoqing was scared and hugged Yang Ming, looking at everything in front of her in horror. Who knows? Are they dead? Yang Ming smiled and said, "It's okay. Just two thieves. Let's hurry up and call the police. Don't wait for these two people to wake up and retaliate against us." Xiaoqing said immediately. "I think so too," Yang Ming said as he took out his mobile phone to make a call. Xiaoqing was afraid that these two people would wake up and hurt people, so she went to the kitchen to find a rope to tie the two guys' hands and feet. Yang Ming didn't care about her. It was better this way. It seemed that he didn't know the life and death of these two people. "Xiaoshui, I'm Yang Ming." The phone call was for Xiaoshui. After it was connected, Yang Ming said directly, "What's wrong, Yang Ming?" Xiaoshui picked up the phone in a daze. "I'm a little tired. I slept in the station. My sister's house was robbed just now. The two robbers were knocked down by me. You bring people over to take a look." Yang Ming said, "What? Your sister's house was robbed?" Xiaoshui was stunned. "Is it true? Why would I lie to you?" Yang Ming said, "Hurry up. I was a little heavy-handed. Don't blame me if these two people die." Xiaoshui knew Yang Ming's skill. Therefore the police car and the ambulance arrived almost at the same time. When the doctor looked at the bald man, he shook his head directly and said, "This person is already dead." Looking at the black-faced man, he was still breathing weakly, so he was carried out. "This is..." Xiaoshui looked at Xiaoqing and asked. "This is my godsister Lu Weishan's goddaughter." Yang Ming explained. "Oh, hello, I'm Xiaoshui from the Municipal Criminal Investigation Team." Xiaoshui said quickly, "Please come with me to the station to make a statement." "Oh." Xiaoqing nodded. "I say, can't you be gentler?" On this side, Xiaoshui had already determined the identity of these two guys through the police. They were both wanted criminals on the internet. Although they were dead, Xiaoshui felt that it was better to get something out of their mouths. "I only gave each of them a kick. Who knew that they were so weak?" Yang Ming said as he spread his hands. Xiaoshui also knew that Yang Ming was stronger. Wang Shifan had so many men protecting him, but he could still be captured by Wang Shifan. Obviously, he wasn't an ordinary person. Coupled with the previous incident with Ji Shuixing, she didn't think that it was strange for Yang Ming to kill them. Things were easy to determine. Both of them were wanted criminals in the south and they were armed with weapons. They had no grievances with Yang Ming and Xiaoqing. It was obviously a robbery. According to the new criminal law, Yang Ming's behavior was justified self-defense. The police station would not file a case. However, things were so big that it was impossible to hide it from Lu Weishan. The yard was full of police cars and ambulances. Lu Weishan naturally called Xiaoqing to ask if they were okay. Xiaoqing's home phone was unmanned, so he naturally called. This time it couldn't be hidden. Xiaoqing said that she and Yang Ming were robbed, but the bad guy had been knocked down by Yang Ming. Both of them were making a statement at the police station. When they just came out of the police station, they saw Lu Weishan, Chu Huifang and Zhong Hanlin. His grandson Xiao Xiaozhong wasn't there. Obviously, the child had fallen asleep, but the adults rushed over. "How is it? Are you okay?" Chu Huifang asked worriedly. "It's okay, godmother. It's just two little thieves." Yang Ming was afraid that Chu Huifang would be worried, so he didn't say that they were wanted murderers. "It's okay. Listen to me. Luckily, I asked Yang Ming to send you or else something would have happened," Chu Huifang said with fear. However, Chu Huifang insisted on not letting Xiaoqing return to the apartment, but because Zhong Hanlin came, there was no space at home, So Lu Weishan suggested, "Do you want to stay in the hotel?" "Hey godfather. Isn't Lan Ling's in my room empty? Why don't we ask Sister Xiaoqing to stay there for the night?" Yang Ming suggested. "Yes, I'm still worried about staying in the hotel. Let's stay there." Chu Huifeng nodded immediately. "Yang Ming, aren't there 2 rooms? Why don't you tell your parents not to go home at night? Stay there with your sister. Your sister is still a girl. I'm a little worried." "No problem. Godmother, I will accompany Sister Xiaoqing. You can rest assured." When Yang Ming heard it, it was exactly what he wanted. He couldn't help but smile. Xiaoqing secretly pinched Yang Ming's waist. How could Yang Ming's little action be fooled by her? After closing the door, Yang Ming held Xiaoqing's waist and said with a smile, "This time, it's legitimate for us to live together. Isn't this the house of love between you and Lan Ling?" Xiaoqing said with some jealousy. After all, Xiaoqing was also a woman. She was usually very generous, but now in this house, it was full of memories of Yang Ming and another woman, which made her a little melancholy. Yang Ming sighed. "Is Lan Ling, how is she now?" Seeing Yang Ming's disappointed look, Xiaoqing immediately felt that she shouldn't have said those words. She quickly said, "I was joking with you, Sister Xiaoqing. Do you think I'm very fickle?" Yang Ming said with some pain. "Is it wrong to be fickle?" Xiaoqing smiled and said, "Well, don't think so much. Sister won't fight with your woman. I'm going to take a shower." Yang Ming looked at the furnishings in the house in a daze. Chapter 587. After a long time, Yang Ming woke up from his melancholy. Looking at the familiar decorations in the room, he had a myriad of thoughts. Sometimes Yang Ming could confidently admit that he was a playboy, but sometimes he felt that he shouldn't be such a playboy. People are always contradictory. If you get something, you have to lose something. Yang Ming stood up and shook his head helplessly. Lan Ling didn't restrict me from looking for other girls, right? In many cases, Yang Ming blamed his playfulness on the strange voodoo. He comforted himself by saying that the reason why he became like this was all because of the voodoo. However, only Yang Ming knew deep down that this was just an excuse for him to cover it up. Before the voodoo, Yang Ming had feelings for both Chen Mengyan and Zhao Ying. At that time, he also had Xiao in his heart. Sigh. Yang Ming sighed and went to the bedroom where he had spent countless spring nights with Lan Ling sitting on the big bed. He only felt a little bored. His eyes glanced at everything in the room in boredom. Unconsciously, he used his X-ray vision. It wasn't that Yang Ming used his ability intentionally. It was completely unintentional. Just as Yang Ming's eyes scanned the drawer of the desk, he was attracted by a contract and an appraisal report. Yang Ming walked to the desk and opened the drawer. He took out the contract and appraisal report. After a few glances, he began to frown. This appraisal report was a copy of the evaluation report on the value of the jadeite. The original report wasn't in the drawer and he didn't know where it went. Of course, if it was a normal appraisal report, Yang Ming wouldn't be interested. However, the photo of the jadeite on the appraisal report was the one that Yang Ming lost in Tingchong and later passed to Yun Guangdou. Yang Ming was afraid that he saw wrongly. However, after looking at it carefully for a long time, he realized that the jadeite in the photo was indeed the one that he lost. Yang Ming immediately fell into deep thought. Why was this thing in Lan Ling's room? With doubts, Yang Ming opened the contract. Yang Ming guessed correctly. This was a contract for the transfer of jadeite. The buyer was Yun Guangdou. It seemed that Yang Ming's guess was right. This was indeed the one that he lost. The name of the person who transferred the jadeite was Chao Jian. Chao Jian? Who is this? Yang Ming was baffled by what he saw. Chao Jian, Lan? Because he found the contract at Lan Ling's place, Yang Ming couldn't help but think that this so-called Director Chao was Lan Ling's surname. Lan? Could it be that Lan Ling stole my jadeite and sold it to Yun Guangdou? Once Yang Ming had this thought, he immediately wanted to give himself a big slap. How could he have such thoughts? Why would Lan Ling steal from him? What a joke. Yang Ming shook his head and instantly dispelled this thought. From the beginning until now, Lan Ling didn't show that she was a greedy girl. Even when Yang Ming said that he wanted to give the jadeite to Lan Ling, she didn't agree. How could she steal it? Moreover, Yang Ming was very clear about Lan Ling's ability. That was foresight. Although she couldn't predict certain things in detail, she could at least guess good or bad luck. So, if Lan Ling wanted to make a fortune, she could just buy a lottery ticket or gamble on a few stones to achieve this goal. Why would she need to steal the jadeite? Moreover, his current relationship with Lan Ling belonged to the same body. Lan Ling could be said to be something that he couldn't do without. Without Lan Ling, then Yang Ming would be done for by the voodoo. Lan Ling asked for money. How could he not give it to her? She would steal the jadeite? Moreover, what made Yang Ming feel inconceivable was that this document was definitely not in this room before, because after Lan Ling left, Yang Ming had thoroughly explored this room. Well, even if I wasn't careful at that time, Lan Ling came back with me from Yunnan. How could I not know if she had the jadeite? Seeing each other naked every night, there was no place to hide the jadeite. Not to mention that Yang Ming had X-ray vision. Moreover, what made Yang Ming puzzled was that even if Lan Ling wanted to steal, she would never sell the jadeite to a buyer in the city. Not only that, but she even signed the contract with her name. Isn't this exposing my identity? There isn't such a stupid person in the world. Moreover, Lan Ling is very strange. How could she make such a low-level mistake? Could it be? Yang Ming's heart was moved. He couldn't believe his own thoughts. But the facts were in front of him. He had to believe it. That is, it seems that someone is deliberately destroying the relationship between me and Lan Ling. Everything seemed to be a trap waiting for me to be hooked, to make me misunderstand Lan Ling, and to cause a conflict between the two of us. It had to be said that Yang Ming had grown rapidly during this time. He was more thoughtful than before in considering problems. He could consider problems from a variety of different perspectives. Lan Ling was brought back from Yunnan by me, and the jadeite was lost in Yunnan. Now the jadeite actually appeared in Songjiang. Moreover, the transfer of this jadeite was actually placed in Lan Ling's drawer. What does this mean? Lan Ling is a thief? Yang Ming shook his head. What is the purpose of this person? It can be said that if Lan Ling was just a plaything or a mistress that he kept, then the success of this trick was unknown. But now there are many secrets between Lan Ling and me that are not known to outsiders. Using this trick to provoke the relationship between me and Lan Ling is very stupid. This person doesn't know about the voodoo, and he doesn't know about Lan Ling's aloof character. However, I have to say that his trick is quite brilliant. If it were other people, they might be furious, right? Are you ready to break up with your lover? Yang Ming flipped through the document and then threw it back into the drawer. He pressed his temple and fell into deep thought. Someone wants to deal with me? Or this person doesn't want me to be with Lan Ling? Everything is an unsolved mystery. Yang Ming was not used to this feeling. This feeling of the enemy in the dark made him feel uneasy. During this time, Yang Ming had been accustomed to being strong and used to the feeling of having everything under control. However, this potential enemy made Yang Ming a little irritated. After checking the other places in the room, there was nothing suspicious. It seemed that the person just put down this document in the room and left. But who is this person? What is his purpose? When Yang Ming opened the door with the key, he found that the door lock was intact, and the window had no trace of being opened. How did this person come in? Could it be that he has the key? Yang Ming made a bold assumption. That's not right. Only Lu Weishan and I should have the key to this room. If Lu Weishan did this, Yang Ming would not believe it even if he was beaten to death. Everything had become confusing. However, there was one thing that Yang Ming could be sure of. This was not done by Lan Ling, because if you love her, you have to trust her, right? Yang Ming shook his head and decided to put this matter to the back of his mind. At present, it seemed that this matter did not constitute a direct threat to him. Is he trying to sow discord? No matter what his purpose is, I won't be fooled. If he dared to stand up and provoke me, Yang Ming was not afraid of him. This was exactly what Yang Ming hoped for. Yang Ming adjusted his mood. Shao Qing had already taken a shower. Yang Ming didn't want her to see that he was troubled by this matter. I'm done. Do you want to take a shower too? Shao Qing came over with a bath towel and said softly. Okay. Yang Ming nodded. Although he had taken a bath in Wang Shifan's base, he was covered in dust because of the fight and the capture of the thieves. Looking at Shao Qing's wonderful body, Yang Ming's desire was also aroused. Let's take a shower together later. Yang Ming smirked and pounced on Shao Qing. Yang Ming told his parents that he stayed at Lu Weishan's house yesterday, so his parents didn't doubt it. Because the new year was coming, Yang Ming couldn't stay at Lu Weishan's house for too long. He had to say goodbye to his godfather and Zhong Hanlin's family regretfully. Zhong Hanlin patted Yang Ming's shoulder with a deeper meaning and said, "Little nephew Yang, we are quite congenial. Keep in touch in the future. Don't worry, Uncle Zhong. I will go to Beijing with my godfather to see you when I am free. Yang Ming nodded. However, little Zhong had a good relationship with Yang Ming because of what he did yesterday. He was reluctant to let Yang Ming go because of his relationship with Yang Ming. However, his words carried little weight, so he had to shut up. Coming out of Lu Weishan's house, Yang Ming took a taxi to the People's Hospital. Because he was worried about Zhou Jiejia's situation, Yang Ming couldn't feel at ease if he didn't take a look. Zhou Jiejia was lying quietly on the hospital bed. Her expression was very peaceful. However, her brain waves were very weak and not very active. It could only mean that Zhou Jiejia was not in any danger for the time being, but it was hard to say when she would wake up. As long as Zhong Hanlin had finished the surgery, the rest was recuperation and rest. Other doctors were also competent. At this moment, in addition to Mother Zhou, there was a middle-aged man standing in the ward. When he saw Yang Ming come in, he gently looked at Yang Ming and then said, "Are you Yang Ming?" Yang Ming nodded, looked at the middle-aged man and looked at Mother Zhou. The identity of this man was not difficult to guess. He should be Zhou Jiejia's father. However, he still asked politely, "You are?" "I am Zhou Jiejia's father, Zhou Tianxiang." The man's tone was very majestic, but there was no trace of emotion. Unlike Mother Zhou, when she spoke, the contempt and disdain in her tone were revealed. Yang Ming's guess was not wrong. This person was Zhou Jiejia's father. Yang Ming looked at the man in front of him. There was an invisible domineering aura of a superior, but it was not arrogant. How to say, this feeling was a bit similar to Sun San. Oh. Yang Ming also nodded in a manner that was neither servile nor overbearing. During this period of time, Yang Ming had seen many big shots and experienced many things. There was nothing to be nervous about on such an occasion. "Let's talk." Zhou Tianxiang glanced at his daughter on the bed with some pity, then turned to Yang Ming and said, "Of course." Yang Ming nodded. "Where are we going?" "Just outside." Zhou Tianxiang pointed outside and said. Zhou Jiejia's ward was a luxurious intensive care unit. It was divided into 2 rooms. The inside was the patient's ward, and the outside was a small hall prepared for family guests. "How is Zhou Jiejia?" Yang Ming asked as he walked. Zhou Tianxiang glanced at Yang Ming and was surprised. Ordinary students were always very restrained when they walked with other people's parents, let alone taking the initiative to talk. Seeing that Yang Ming was so relaxed, Zhou Tianxiang also sighed at Yang Ming's calmness. In particular, Yang Ming was completely unaware of the aura that he had cultivated for a long time. "She is temporarily out of the critical period, but I don't know when she will wake up." Zhou Tianxiang was also a parent. When he talked about his daughter, the expression on his face changed involuntarily. Yang Ming nodded. He knew that this was the best result. As for when Zhou Jiejia would wake up, it would depend on her luck. "Tell me, Yang Ming, your relationship with my daughter." Zhou Tianxiang received a call from Mother Zhou yesterday, saying that his daughter was injured. He rushed back by plane and just arrived this morning. As soon as he got off the plane, Mother Zhou kept complaining about Yang Ming, but at the same time she told Zhou Tianxiang about her thoughts yesterday. It was about the problem of what to do if her daughter couldn't wake up. Zhou Tianxiang frowned when he heard it. Now it was unclear what the relationship between Yang Ming and his daughter was. It was really a woman's view to be anxious to match up with him. "Uncle Zhou, Zhou Jiejia and I were junior high school classmates. Now we are college classmates. As for whether there is any other relationship, it is a relatively good friend." Yang Ming hesitated and could only explain it this way. "Oh. However, I heard from Jiejia's mother that you and Jiejia are lovers?" Zhou Tianxiang cheated. "Lovers?" Yang Ming was stunned and then smiled. She was talking about Wang Jitao, right? Before that. Zhou Tianxiang waved his hand. "I don't like to beat around the bush. Jiejia was compromising in front of Wang Jitao because of you, right? In the end she took a bullet for you, right? Yang Ming, you really disappoint me. I didn't expect my daughter to like such an irresponsible man. Don't worry. I don't want you to be responsible for Jiejia. Even if Jiejia doesn't wake up, I don't intend to let her cling on to you." The police had already told Zhou Tianxiang and Mother Zhou about these things, so Zhou Tianxiang still understood the general situation. However, the relationship between Yang Ming and Zhou Jiejia, he was also half speculating and half blackmailing. "Uncle Zhou, you're wrong." Yang Ming was not angry. Zhou Tianxiang's words were right. If he was really Zhou Jiejia's boyfriend, then he was indeed irresponsible. But he really wasn't. Zhou Jiejia and I are just good classmates. How should I say it? Anyway, it doesn't matter whether you believe it or not. But as for taking care of Zhou Jiejia, I will do it even if you don't say it. Zhou Tianxiang looked at Yang Ming for a long time and then said, "So, my daughter thinks too much? Of course you can say that I'm slow to realize it." Yang Ming shrugged and smiled. "Well, it's up to you. But young man, I hope what you said today is true. If I find that you are perfunctory, then you have to bear the consequences." Although Zhou Tianxiang felt that Yang Ming didn't lie, it was hard to tell what was in a person's heart. Who could say for sure? He just scared Yang Ming. Bear the consequences? Yang Ming was amused. When have I ever been afraid of anyone? However, Yang Ming didn't say much. He nodded and got up to leave the ward. Zhou Jiejia's parents were the kind of rich people, so Yang Ming simply didn't mention any medical expenses. There was no need. After research and discussion, Huang Yukai was listed as a wanted target. Various evidence showed that the possibility of Huang Yukai not participating in smuggling was slim. Because of Huang Youcai's administrative position in the Wang's group, it was easy to investigate clearly. Many people in the group claimed that Huang Yukai was Wang Shifan's private secretary. He usually didn't manage the group's affairs. Most of the affairs were handled by Vice President Gua. Therefore, Huang Youcai's identity was immediately apparent. This guy was likely to be Wang Shifan's smuggling arm. Moreover, the more Wang Shifan wanted to remove Huang Yukai from the case, the more the police felt that there was a problem with Huang Yukai. You can't even protect yourself now. Do you still have the time to argue for the innocence of others? Well, even if you don't want to implicate others, why don't you defend Gu Jianchao and the like? Why are you targeting Huang Yukai? Moreover, as the context of the case gradually became clear, Huang Youcai's role in it gradually emerged. Especially in the case of Su Daji's murder, Wang Shifan's testimony had many contradictions, so the police unanimously determined that the real suspect of Su Daji's murder was Huang Yukai. Unfortunately, Su Daji's corpse had mysteriously disappeared. The police went to the place where Wang Shifan claimed to dump the body, but they didn't find Su Daji's body. This made Wang Shifan very puzzled. Logically, even if the body had mutated, shouldn't it still be there? Did someone move it after that? Or did the body run away by itself? Wang Shifan Association thought of the horrible and strange scene he saw that night. Wang Shifan had a chill, but he was also a person who was about to die. The deterrence of ghosts and gods wasn't so obvious to him. As for Huang Yukai, he had tried his best, but the police weren't so easy to fool. They still found a flaw. This wasn't something that Wang Shifan could control. But what he was most worried about was his son Wang Jitao. If there was no assistance from Huang Yukai, it was likely that he would be finished. Moreover, now not only was Huang Yukai wanted, but Wang Jitao also fell into the police investigation list. After all, his father was a smuggler and he had an unclear relationship with the base and Huang Yukai. He was also the focus of attention. Of course, what the police were most concerned about was whether Wang Jitao was hiding any smuggled black gold. Now Wang Jitao and Huang Yukai were like frightened birds. They found a remote warehouse to hide. Wang Jitao didn't want Huang Yukai to be taken away by the police. In that case, he would become alone. There was no need to talk about a comeback. Huang Yukai was now his only reliance. How is it? Huang Yukai sat awkwardly in the deformed wheelchair and looked at Wang Jitao, who came in and asked. The police are looking for us. This is today's newspaper. You have become a wanted criminal. Wang Jitao handed the newspaper in his hand to Huang Yukai and sighed. Damn, you are like a stray dog. Huang Yukai took the newspaper and threw it aside after a few glances. Then he said, Jitao, you don't have to suffer with me. The smuggling has nothing to do with you. The police must be looking for you to assist in the investigation. You are suffering with me here. Why bother? Uncle Huang, I'm leaving. What are you going to do? Wang Jitao threw a bag of steamed buns bought at the snack stall to Huang Yukai, then he opened another bag and ate it. He was used to a life of luxury. Now that he was like a homeless person, he was really not used to it. But what could he do? Wang Jitao was very clear that if he didn't care about Huang Yukai, then Huang Yukai could only wait for death or wait for the police to catch him. Huang Yukai was a disabled person. Not to mention that his life was a problem. If he showed up as an obvious target, he would definitely be sent to the police station. Moreover, the police may not have any good intentions looking for me. They must want to get something from me. The money that my dad left me can't be given to them. Wang Jitao swallowed a big steamed bun and said, "That's true, but Uncle Huang really thanks you. Jitao, you are a loyal child." Huang Yukai said very emotionally, "Don't say it, Uncle Huang. Eat it." Wang Jitao finished eating the steamed bun in his hand and took off the cheap sunglasses on his face. His current outfit was no different from the little ruffian on the street, but no one would think that he was the rich young master, Wang Jitao. What about the Wang group? Huang Yukai finished eating the steamed bun, then he discussed the business with Wang Jitao. President Wang gave you the legal documents. As long as you sign it, you will be the heir of the Wang group. If you don't show up now, I am afraid that there will be another change. It's not that I don't want to show up, but at this time, Wang Jitao said helplessly, we have the legal documents in hand. What are you afraid of? Besides, even if there is a change, there is no other way. How much is the Wang group worth? The total assets are only 100 million, but the cash that my dad left me in the Swiss bank is 20 million US dollars. That's true. Huang Yukai nodded and said, with money, we are not afraid that we can't make a comeback. Yeah, Yang Ming, I will definitely let him pay the price. Damn it, I want him to remember that if he offends me, Wang Jitao, I will let him die a horrible death. Wang Jitao sneered arrogantly. Huang Yukai nodded secretly. It seems that Jitao's character is very different from Wang Shifan's. Jitao's character is similar to mine. They are the kind of people who do things ruthlessly. It seems that if we grasp it well, the two of them may be able to make a comeback and do something big. How could that be? Didn't our relationship ease before? Wang Jitao said shamelessly. Before? That's funny. You had a purpose before. If it wasn't for me and, forget it. Let's not talk about this. The girl shook her head. I came this time to bring you some food and warm electrical appliances. They are outside. Move them in yourself. I've done my best. From now on we have nothing to do with each other. Sister. Wang Jitao still wanted to say something, but the girl had already turned around and was about to leave. Well, even if you don't care about me, you don't want to see father's revenge? Don't you know? Wang Jitao shouted. Father? Did he treat me as his daughter? The girl's body trembled and said, no matter what, blood is thicker than water. You are Wang Shifan's daughter and my sister. Now that father was harmed by Yang Ming, don't you care? Wang Jitao said passionately, there is a saying that no matter how wrong parents are, they are still your parents. They gave you life. That is enough. As a son, if I don't avenge my father, I won't die in peace. The girl stopped and was quiet. No one knew what she was thinking. Wang Jitao didn't speak. He stood quietly and waited for the girl's decision. He knew that his words had an effect. Yes, this sister of mine may not have a good impression of me, but I'm playing the family card now. It's the hatred card. The hatred of killing my father. After a long while, the girl took a long sigh of relief. Wasn't she struggling in her heart? Even if she didn't have a good impression of this elder brother, or that nominal father of hers, her mother loved this man without any complaints or regrets, from the beginning to the end. Now something happened to her father in name. Her mother must be very sad. For her mother, this hatred must be avenged. The girl lived in a single-parent family since she was a child. Her heart was slightly twisted. Once she hated someone, she would retaliate by any means. What do you want me to do? The girl said faintly. Get close to Yang Ming, gain his favor and inform him of my whereabouts. That's enough. Leave the rest to me. Wang Jitao knew that the girl finally made a choice in her heart. He couldn't help but be overjoyed. That's it? Asked the girl. That's it. Wang Jitao nodded. Of course it wasn't just that. After the girl got close to Yang Ming, she might play some unexpected role. At the critical moment, she would be a vital chess piece. But Wang Jitao didn't say these words. Let me think about it. The girl didn't give a definite answer. She left such a sentence and strode out of the warehouse. After the girl left, Wang Jitao and Huang Yukai moved the things sent by the girl into the warehouse. It seemed that the girl was well prepared. Electric heaters, electric mattresses and so on were all available. There was also a lot of fast food. It was winter now. They were not afraid of spoiling. It was just that Wang Jitao had some regrets that he couldn't go to the girl's house. What's the matter? There is still no news of Wu Ming? Although the Black Widow's tone was flat, her face was slightly frowning. Boss Wu Ming seems to have been caught. He Shu hesitated and said. Caught? Is there a master around Bao Sanli? Wu Ming's skills are better than yours. How could he be caught? The Black Widow frowned and asked, is this news reliable? This is just a guess. He Shu said, however, that Yang Ming seems to have some relationship with Bao Sanli. I am afraid that the person who made the move is him. Last time He Shu and Feng Dao were injured by Yang Ming. After returning to the headquarters, it was obvious that they couldn't hide it. They could only confess to the Black Widow what they had done, but they didn't expect the Black Widow to ask them not to care about Yang Ming in the future. This made He Shu and Feng Dao feel a little strange. Does their boss know this Yang Ming? However, they knew the Black Widow's means. She was a woman of her word, so they didn't dare to look for Yang Ming again. Therefore, when the matter involved Yang Ming, He Shu was very careful to speak about it. You're tuning in to the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.